The next morning, Wyatt and Chloe were ready to head back to New York City. As they were leaving, Sarah couldn't stop talking, a constant stream of motherly advice. Wyatt knew it was just her way of saying she'd miss him. All right, Mom. Stop worrying, he said with a carefree laugh. The semester's short. I'll be back for summer break before you know it. Sarah shot him a look, then took Chloe's hand. Chloe, you keep an eye on him, okay? If he's up to no good out there, you call me. I'll set him straight for you. Okay, Chloe said, smiling. She flashed Wyatt a look that clearly said, You heard her. You better be on your best behavior. Wyatt just rolled his eyes. His parents walked them downstairs. After Chloe got in the car, Wyatt leaned in, cupped his mom's face in his hands, and planted a loud, smacking kiss on her forehead before hopping into the driver's seat. You're ridiculous, Sarah muttered, wiping her forehead with a smile. She waved as they pulled away, standing on the curb and watching until the car disappeared from sight before finally turning to go back inside. You want to sit in the back? Wyatt asked Chloe. It's more spacious. You could even take a nap. Leo and I can switch off driving later. I'll move back there in a bit, she replied. Sounds good. Wyatt drove to the corner market owned by Leo's family. When Paul Cheen saw Wyatt's car pull up, he hurried outside and yelled up toward the apartment above the store. Leo, Wyatt's here. Get down here. Coming. Leo's voice echoed, and a moment later he was running downstairs, dragging a suitcase behind him. His mother, Helen, followed him down, carrying a large bag of snacks she'd prepared. She pushed the bag into the car, and her eyes went wide when she saw Chloe in the passenger seat. She walked around to the driver's side window, a wide, conspiratorial grin on her face. Wyatt, is this your girlfriend? Yep, Wyatt confirmed. Chloe quickly chimed in. Hi, Mrs. Cheen. Helen's expression softened instantly. She leaned closer to Wyatt and whispered, Well done, Wyatt. Quietly found yourself such a beautiful girlfriend. Don't worry, Mrs. Cheen, Wyatt said with a wink. Your future daughter-in-law is gorgeous, too. Really? Of course. I introduced them, wouldn't I know? Helen's eyes crinkled into a smile. She spun around and called to her husband, Paul, go grab a few more Red Bulls from the store for their drive. Didn't you already pack water for them? Just do it. No more questions. Paul quickly reappeared from the market with a handful of Red Bulls and passed them to Wyatt, who accepted them without hesitation. Helen lowered her voice again. Wyatt, you think you could work some magic? Maybe convince Leo to bring that girl back to Riverwood for a few days this summer. I'll work on him, Wyatt promised. You're such a good kid. Leo, having stowed his luggage, walked up to the car. Mom, what are you and Wyatt whispering about? Nothing. You kids drive safe, you hear. We will. The three of them hit the road. 20 minutes later, the car pulled over at the entrance to the highway. Wyatt got out and gestured for Leo to do the same. What's up? Leo asked. You're driving. What the hell? You've been driving for less than half an hour. Wyatt was already climbing into the back seat with Chloe. He yawned dramatically. I had a late night. You drive for a bit. I'm going to catch some sleep. A late night? Leo thought, glancing at Chloe and then back at Wyatt. He muttered, You animal, under his breath, but obediently took the driver's seat and merged onto the highway. The drive back was anything but smooth. They hit a traffic jam that stretched for miles, turning what should have been an early evening arrival into a 9 o'clock ordeal. After safely dropping Chloe off at her dorm, Wyatt spent another hour driving back to his own campus. The first thing he did was text his parents to let them know he'd arrived safely. Worried Chloe might forget, he also sent a quick text to Miranda. Miranda had been waiting anxiously. She replied almost instantly, Good. It's been a long day. Get some rest. All three of his roommates were in the dorm. When Wyatt pushed the door open, Chris and Sam were already in bed. Alex was sitting at his desk, staring at a textbook. Wyatt blinked. Alex, are you insane? It's after 10. What are you doing pretending to study? Alex sighed. Don't ask. I failed a required course last year. I have to retake the final. Sucks to be you. Wyatt quickly unpacked a few things, took a shower, exchanged a few texts with Chloe, and collapsed in a bed. The next morning, the sharp, energetic riff of the Killer's Mr. Brightside blasted through the room, jolting everyone from their sleep. Damn it, who set that alarm? Chris grumbled. Me, Alex announced, sitting up in his bunk. He started getting dressed. I've made a few resolutions for 2016. First one is to go to bed early and wake up early. This is the year I become a new man. Chris grabbed his pillow and chucked it at Alex. So what were you the last 2 years, a degenerate? Alex, unbothered, tossed the pillow back onto Chris's bed and climbed down to brush his teeth. It was the first day of a new semester. The alarm had woken Wyatt up for good, so he decided against sleeping in. As the class representative, he figured he should probably make a good impression on the first day. After brushing their teeth and getting dressed, The four of them headed to the dining hall, wolfed down breakfast in 10 minutes, and walked over to the academic building for class. When Wyatt entered the classroom, it was buzzing with noise. It seemed like everyone had a semester's worth of stories to catch up on after the break. He walked up to the podium and rapped his knuckles on it. Quiet down, quiet down. This isn't a marketplace. Can we have some order? A female classmate laughed. You got even more handsome over the break, Mr. President. I know. Save the flattery for after class. The room filled with laughter. Wyatt scanned the students and then turned to the class secretary. Everyone here today? No one called out. Nope, full house. Good. Just as Wyatt was about to head to his seat, Ms. Sutton, their advisor, appeared at the door. Wyatt, grab a few people and come to my office to help bring up the textbooks. You got it. He pointed to a few of the bigger guys in the back row. What are you guys waiting for? Let's go chop chop. Help me move some books. The spring semester of sophomore year didn't bring many changes. The courses were similar, and most of the professors were the same. This stage of college was a turning point. Freshman year was about adjusting from the high school grind. By sophomore spring, everyone was a veteran. People started splitting off, some focused on their studies, others on their relationships. Everyone was free to carve their own path. Junior year was when you had to start thinking about the future, grad school, civil service exams, or internships. By senior year, the schedule was lighter, and most people were either interning off campus or living in a library. There was no time for anything else. For 2016, Wyatt had set 3 goals for himself. First, become a 9-figure millionaire. Second, get his future in-laws back together. Third, get Chloe to call him hubby. Everything at the firm was business as usual. After investing in a few more projects, the company had started to build a small reputation in the industry. Every now and then, entrepreneurs would reach out through the official website, though most of the proposals weren't worth a second look. Still, it was better than the radio silence they'd gotten before. On the 26th, the first Friday back, Wyatt finally got a call from his cousin Mandy. He'd almost completely forgotten about her art school auditions at the end of February. He answered the phone and got straight to the point. Hey, Mandy, when are you coming to NYC for your audition? Mandy laughed. I already finished. What? Wyatt was confused. Weren't you going to have me pick you up? My mom didn't want me to bother you since you have classes, Mandy explained. But tomorrow's Saturday. Are you free, cousin? Where are you now? At a hotel near the NYU Tisch campus on Lotus Avenue. I have to be over there this afternoon anyway. Send me the address. I'll come get you. Okay. After hanging up, Mandy rolled around on her bed ecstatically. Her mother, Aunt Sharon, saw her and gave her a light swat on the butt. Listen to me. We can stay in New York for 2 more days at most. We have to be home Sunday night. Your brother is still at home. Oh, Mom, Grandma's there, isn't she? That doesn't matter. Fine, 2 days it is. Wyatt had an elective that Friday afternoon. After lunch in the dining hall, he went back to his dorm, grabbed a few things, and started the drive toward the Huangpu district. The Juilliard School was only about a 20-minute drive from NYU's Tisch building, but Chloe had a class in the afternoon, so Wyatt took a detour and drove straight to Mandy's hotel first. He sent a text, and Mandy came running down from her room a moment later. Wyatt frowned. Where's your mom? She's upstairs. Why didn't she come down? She said she was feeling a little dizzy and wanted to rest at the hotel. Wyatt figured his aunt was just making an excuse, afraid she'd be a third wheel if she tagged along with him, Mandy, and Chloe. He nodded. Okay, I'll come back and get her for dinner this evening. Mandy hopped into the passenger seat, grinning. Cousin, is your school far from here? It took me over an hour to drive here. What do you think? Huh? That far? Mandy's face fell. I was hoping to see your campus. Wyatt laughed. What's there to see? All universities are pretty much the same. Once you get into Tisch, you'll have plenty of chances. Oh, right. Mandy brightened up. Cousin, let me tell you, did so great on my audition. Mandy, like Riley, was a total chatterbox. She talked nonstop, and Wyatt mostly tuned her out for the rest of the drive. When they got to Juilliard, he waited by the dorm entrance for a few minutes. Soon, Chloe came down with her 3 roommates. Mandy had a sweet mouth. The moment she saw Chloe, she smiled and chirped, "Hi, sister-in-law." Chloe gave an awkward little laugh. Her roommates froze for a second, then immediately started whispering with mischievous grins, "Sister-in-law. Sister-in-law. You guys are nuts." Chloe opened the car door and slid inside. Isabelle leaned forward, her hands resting on the open window of the passenger side. "Wyatt," she said with a sly smile, "you've got some good genes in your family." "Who's the cute cousin?" "She's all right," Wyatt said casually. "But her looks are nothing compared to mine." "Please." Isabelle and the others had originally planned to bum a ride with Wyatt to go shopping, but seeing Mandy, they changed their minds. After watching Wyatt drive away, Ashley waved a hand dismissively. "No car. I don't want to go out anymore." I'm just going to go back to the dorm. Isabelle grabbed Ashley's arm and pulled out her phone. What are you talking about? I haven't even made my move yet. What's the rush? With that, she placed a call to Michael Jiao. He picked up almost instantly. Hey, Michael, you have 20 minutes. Get to my dorm and pick me up. Okay, I'm on my way. Isabelle hung up, looking thoroughly pleased with herself. Her two roommates gave her a thumbs up, their eyes filled with admiration. When it comes to training men, you're the master. Listen, Isabelle warned them, when Michael gets here, don't ruin my image. Ashley and Sophie were curious. What's your image now? The sweet, understanding, but occasionally a little unreasonable girl next door type. Wow. After an afternoon of fun, around 5 in the evening, Wyatt drove Chloe and Mandy back to the hotel to pick up his aunt for dinner. Mandy rang the doorbell twice. The second the door opened, she burst out, Mom, look who I brought back. Aunt Sharon, Chloe said, standing beside Wyatt a little shyly. Aunt Sharon, who had slept the afternoon away, lit up instantly. She grabbed Chloe's hand and pulled her inside. You must be Chloe. Yes. Come in, come in. Aunt Sharon was a whirlwind of enthusiasm, praising Chloe so much that she started to blush. Compared to Wyatt's mom, though, his aunt was a bit more balanced. After complimenting Chloe, she didn't forget to throw in a few nice words about Wyatt, saying he'd always been smart and silver-tongued, and that the two of them looked so perfect together. As the sky outside began to darken, Wyatt finally cut in with a smile. Aunt Sharon, it's getting late. We should probably go get some dinner. Yes, you're right. Let's go eat. Aunt Sharon took Chloe's arm and led the way out. Mandy and Wyatt followed behind. The four of them got in the car and found a nice, upscale restaurant nearby. The meal was pleasant. As Chloe relaxed, she became more talkative. Wyatt had been watching her change, and compared to the girl he'd met 2 summers ago, she was like a different person. I'm just going to the restroom, Aunt Sharon said. Are you all full? We can order more if you're still hungry. We're full, everyone assured her. As soon as she was gone, Wyatt flagged down the waiter and paid the bill. He'd been in New York for almost 2 years now. He was practically a local. There was no way he was letting his aunt pay while she was visiting. Mandy wiped her mouth with a napkin. Cousin, where are you staying tonight? A hotel. Then get an extra room. Mandy said quickly. Let me and my sister-in-law stay together. That way you don't have to come pick me up tomorrow. Wyatt grinned. If you sleep with her, then who do I sleep with? You of course would. Mandy's words trailed off as she seemed to finally catch Wyatt's meaning. Her eyes widened as she asked cautiously, You two have already. Under the table, Chloe's hand snaked over to Wyatt's inner thigh. She pinched a small piece of flesh and twisted hard. Wyatt winced through a pained grin. You shouldn't ask what you're not supposed to ask, and you shouldn't say what you're not supposed to say. Mandy looked as if she'd just discovered a massive secret. She quickly covered her mouth and nodded vigorously. When Aunt Sharon returned from the restroom, the four of them sat for a while longer. As they were about to leave, she started looking for her phone to pay the bill. When she found out Wyatt had already taken care of it, she scolded him lightly. After dropping his aunt and Mandy back at their hotel, Wyatt and Chloe found another hotel nearby and checked in. The moment the room door closed, Chloe sat on the edge of the bed, pouting like a child who'd been wronged. Wyatt knew she was still fuming about his joke at dinner. He sat down beside her and, after a considerable amount of sweet talking and coaxing, finally managed to get her to smile again. The next day, Saturday, Wyatt took Chloe and a had-to-come-along, Mandy, to Elaine Yang's house. After her successful surgery, Elaine was at home recovering, with a full-time caregiver to look after her. Bored out of her mind, Elaine's mood instantly brightened when she saw Wyatt. For some reason, she had started to enjoy having people around, which was one of the reasons she had insisted on the IVF. Wyatt, and who is this young lady? Elaine asked, looking at Mandy. Oh, this is my cousin. She's in town for an art school audition and insisted on tagging along. Wyatt put his hand on Mandy's head and ruffled her hair roughly. What do you say? Mandy finally mumbled, hello, Annie, and slapped his hand away. Annie Ding, could you please bring us some fruit? Elaine called out. Of course. Visiting Elaine on Saturday was part of Wyatt's plan. Over the holiday, Miranda had specifically told him that Elaine was lonely at home and that he should bring Chloe to visit more often if he had the time. Besides that, there were some production process issues with the Vivian Secret brand that he needed Elaine's expert opinion on. So, Wyatt and the girls stayed for a long time. After they finished lunch, Elaine proactively asked about the company. Wyatt took the opportunity to relay the questions Tanya Yuan had sent him. After clearing up his confusion, Elaine, worried that Wyatt might not understand the technical details, had him connect her with Tanya on Messenger. This way, they could avoid any miscommunication from having a layman like Wyatt act as the middleman. Then, Elaine took the initiative again. A product's appearance and quality are one thing, but if you want it to sell well, you need to put effort into marketing. Does the company have a plan for that? Wyatt smiled. I'm in charge of the current marketing strategy, and I'll be planning the launch for the new brand as well. Here's what I'm thinking. Our new products are for the fall collection. During the summer, I want to host an online influencer runway show. It'll promote the Vivian's secret swimwear and lingerie line, and it will also give us some experience. Wyatt paused, took a sip of water, and continued. Then, around fall break, I plan to hold a large-scale fashion show for the new brand's launch. I'll hire a few B-list and C-list celebrities for promotion and get some professional models for the runway. The goal is to make a huge splash right from the start. Elaine listened and nodded in approval. But that's going to cost a lot of money. It's fine. Vivian's Secret is selling pretty well online right now, and the monthly profits are substantial. If we don't have enough cash, I'll just invest more of my own money. You have to spend money to make money. You can't get anywhere without taking a risk. My former company worked with many domestic talent agencies. I can get you the contact information for their agents. And as for models, however many you need, I can find them for you. I still have resources in that area. That would be a huge help. The two of them chatted happily. Chloe was already used to this, but Mandy, sitting beside them, was completely stunned. She had no idea her cousin was already operating at this level. Her image of Wyatt grew even more impressive in her mind. Weekends always flew by. On Sunday morning, Wyatt took his aunt and cousin to the waterfront in Dumbo to take a commemorative photo under the Brooklyn Bridge. That afternoon, he dropped them off at Penn Station. Back at school, life slowed down again. February passed quietly, and before he knew it, March was halfway over. The temperature was gradually rising, and by mid-March, people were shedding their down jackets and winter coats for spring jackets. But March was rainy, and it had been drizzling almost non-stop since the beginning of the month. This morning, Carter and Travis, finding themselves with nothing to do with the company, both ended up in Wyatt's office. The three of them started chatting about company matters. When the conversation turned to the employees, Wyatt glanced at Abby Zhang, who was organizing files in his office. After a moment's hesitation, he decided not to ask her to leave. Instead, he walked over and closed the office door himself. Picking up the thread of the conversation, he said, "I've actually been observing the people who joined the company last November." As he said this, Abby's heart inexplicably skipped a beat. She had joined at that time, too. Wyatt paid her no mind and continued. The two in the finance department, Kathy and Wendy. In terms of individual ability and learning capacity, Kathy is a bit stronger than Wendy. But both are detail-oriented, which was clear from their monthly reports right after they joined. With a year or two of experience, they'll be the pillars of the finance department. However, Wendy is very ambitious. If a better opportunity comes along, she'll probably jump ship. Next, your two new analysts in the investment department, Frank and David. To be honest, the one who left a deeper impression on me is Frank. Every time I come to the office and run into him, he greets me. And whenever I stroll through the office area, he's always working diligently. I watched him during his first 2 months. I noticed that whenever we two are in the office, he works hard and clocks out late. But when we're not here, he leaves right on time. Now, there's nothing wrong with leaving on time. I've always said the company doesn't encourage overtime. But his behavior shows that his diligence is just a performance for us. We need to be cautious about developing someone like that. David might not have Frank's foundation, but he's very eager to learn. Several times during the lunch break, I've seen him watching investment case studies and lectures with his headphones on. People like him might not be suited for leadership, but he'd make an excellent technical expert. Carter, having been around Wyatt for a while, was already aware of Wyatt's uncanny ability to read people, so he remained calm. But Abby, standing nearby, was floored. She had never imagined that Wyatt, who rarely came to the office on weekdays and was nowhere to be found on weekends, would have analyzed her fellow new hires so thoroughly. She now understood why Wyatt was the boss at such a young age. Travis, your intern, Irene, is probably the one I'm most satisfied with from this batch. She's smart, capable, and decisive. I don't know much about law, but the impression and vibe she gives off is that of a natural-born lawyer. I plan to talk to her privately in the next few days and to try to keep her at the company. Travis smiled. She really is excellent. As for the admin and HR people, I won't comment. Their roles aren't as critical, and their abilities haven't really been demonstrated yet. Carter pointed at Abby and said jokingly, Abby joined with them. Aren't you going to say a few words about her? I didn't even ask her to leave while we were having this conversation. What more do I need to say? Huh? Carter turned to Abby with a grin. Abby, do you know what Mr. Hunt means by that? Abby shook her head. Carter chuckled. Mr. Hunt considers you one of his own. You'd better be discreet. Yes, Abby said, realization dawning on her as she nodded emphatically. The bell rang, signaling the end of class, and students poured out of the room. Isabelle, holding her textbooks, glanced at a package delivery notification on her phone. She hooked her arm through Chloe's and said with a sweet smile, "Chloe, will you come with me to pick up a package?" Before Chloe could answer, Ashley and Sophie said in unison, "I have a package to pick up too." The group loved to shop on Amazon, and they made a trip to the mail center several times a week. Seeing that all three of them had packages, Chloe decided to go along. She didn't like eating in the dining hall alone, nor did she like being by herself in the dorm. She wasn't sure when she had become this way. "What did you two buy?" "Clothes. I ran out of face wash, so I bought a new bottle." After picking up their packages, the four of them went to the dining hall for lunch. Back in their dorm, they started opening their deliveries. Chloe sat at her desk, gazing at the gloomy sky outside. She rested her chin in one hand and took out her phone with the other, sending a message to Wyatt. "Dork, have you eaten?" Wyatt replied quickly, "Just finished. I'll leave around 3 and get to you by 4. Chloe was about to type a reply when another message from Wyatt came through. "Wyatt, remember to be all clean and ready for me, winky face." Chloe quickly deleted the text she had typed and sent back a smiling retort. "Haha, in your dreams." "Wyatt, hold on, Leo's calling me." Just as Chloe was about to reply with an okay, Isabelle suddenly leaned over. Chloe quickly locked her phone. Seeing this, Isabelle gave her a wicked grin. "What kind of secrets are you and Wyatt sharing now? Don't be ridiculous. Please." Isabelle handed Chloe a bag of snacks her parents had sent from Australia. "This egg yolk pastry is amazing. Every time I go to Australia, I buy a ton. My mom sent these over especially for me. You should all try them." As she spoke, Isabelle also gave a share to her other 2 roommates. Chloe put down her phone and opened the package. Inside were 4 pastries that looked exactly like the ones on the box. She picked one up and took a bite. "How is it?" "Mm," Chloe nodded. "It's delicious." Ashley chimed in quickly. "It's so fragrant. It's like there's a layer of mochi inside. It's too good, I can't stop." There were 4 small pastries in the box. After eating one, Chloe carefully resealed the box. When Isabelle saw this, she thought Chloe was watching her weight and immediately asked, "Chloe, are you trying to lose weight already? It's not even summer yet." Chloe shook her head, a sweet smile on her face. "No, I'm saving them for Wyatt." Isabelle stared for 2 seconds, then slapped her forehead and sighed dramatically. "Fine, my mistake for asking. Everything is about him now, isn't it?" Chloe didn't answer, but she thought to herself, "He's my boyfriend. Who else will I be thinking about?" That afternoon, Wyatt left half an hour earlier than planned. Leo had called, saying it was inconvenient to get around in the rain, and asked Wyatt to pick him up directly from his dorm. On the way to Juilliard with Leo in the car, Leo was chattering nonstop about his school's name change. He said it was a done deal, and by the end of the month, the Riverwood Institute of Technology would officially become Riverwood Technological University. Even though it was only a 2-word change, it sounded much more prestigious. He and his classmates felt like they'd hit the jackpot. This was all within Wyatt's expectations, so he just nodded along calmly. "Leo, I'm giving you a heads up," Wyatt said. "You need to figure out a way to bring Sophie back to Riverwood for the summer." "Huh, I already promised your mom. You figure it out." Leo had suspected their whispered conversation the other day was about Sophie. He sighed, looking troubled. "I want to, but what if she says no?" "First, you coax her. Then you trick her. Coax and trick." Wyatt nodded. "Doesn't she like to travel? Tell her you're taking her to the Poconos. Get her to Riverwood first, then worry about the rest." "Sophie's not stupid. She'll know I'm trying to take her home to meet my parents." "I know," Wyatt said with the wisdom of experience. "But sometimes, if you're direct, they'll say no. But if you play a little game, even if she knows you're playing, she'll willingly go along with it." Leo scratched his head. "All right, I'll ask her." Then, remembering something else, he quickly asked, "What if she wants me to meet her parents?" "Then you go. What else can you do? I'm worried they won't like me. You can work at my company for a month this summer. I'll give you some random title, get some business cards printed, and you can drive my car over. As long as you don't act like an idiot, there's no reason her parents wouldn't like you." "Dude, when you put it like that, I'm actually touched." Leo pretended to wipe a tear from his eye. Wyatt rolled his eyes. "You son of a bitch, don't be disgusting." The car pulled up in front of the dorm. Leo sat in the car and sent a text to Sophie. Coincidentally, Ashley was on the balcony doing her laundry. She glanced down, then rushed back into the dorm. "Chloe, your man is here." Chloe shot Ashley a look, grabbed her bag and the uneaten pastries, and quickly went downstairs. A second later, Sophie received Leo's text and went down with her. Isabelle stood up and wrapped her arms around Ashley from behind, fake crying. "Looks like it's just us sisters, left to fend for ourselves this weekend." Ashley was unmoved. She asked dryly, "What time is Michael getting here?" Isabelle gave a sheepish smile. and quickly tried to recover. Don't worry, I'm not like Chloe. I'll be back tonight to sleep with you. Yeah, right. Isabelle felt a little bad, leaving Ashley alone in the dorm. So, when Michael arrived after work that evening, she decided to call Chloe and Sophie to suggest they all have dinner together. Sophie naturally agreed immediately. Chloe hesitated for a while before finally saying, "We might be a little late." Isabelle asked directly, "Where did Wyatt take you?" Chloe was too embarrassed to admit they had just been lounging in a hotel room all afternoon and hadn't even gotten up yet. Wyatt grabbed the phone and said, "Just send me the location. We'll be there in a bit." "Okay, hurry up." After hanging up, Michael took Isabelle and Ashley to a restaurant on the main food strip. They sat down, and about 10 minutes later, Leo and Sophie arrived. They waited another 20 minutes before Wyatt and Chloe finally showed up in the private room. "Haha, sorry we're late. You two are something else. We've been waiting for half an hour." While Michael was out hurrying the kitchen, Isabelle crossed her arms and snorted, "I bet those two were off doing something naughty in some corner." Wyatt didn't indulge her. He shot back, "None of your damn business." "Yeah, haven't you ever heard the saying? Lust will be the death of you." Wyatt pulled out a chair for Chloe, then leaned over and draped an arm around Leo's shoulders with a grin. "Don't worry, we men from Riverwood have strong bones." Sophie, hearing this, quickly pulled Leo away. "You stay away from Wyatt from now on. If you start acting like him, we're breaking up." The whole room erupted in laughter. Everyone knew Sophie was joking. When Michael got back from chasing down the waiter, he saw everyone laughing and asked curiously, "What's so funny?" "It's none of your business. Just sit down and be quiet." And Michael, ever the obedient one, did just that. As the dishes arrived one by one, the 7 of them ate and chatted. The beauty of being young was having plenty of time to squander on youth, plenty of time to spend with friends. After graduation, once everyone had their own jobs and families, getting a table of friends like this together would be no easy feat. Halfway through the meal, Michael pulled Wyatt aside to talk business. "There's a youth investment networking event organized by some people in the industry the day after tomorrow. Do you want to go with me?" Wyatt immediately asked, "Is it worth going? If you have time, you should check it out. Most of the people there will be legitimate. I can introduce you to some people. You might even find some good investment projects." "All right then, I'll go with you." The bill for the meal was, of course, covered by the generous Michael. After dinner, he took Isabelle to spend some quality time together. The hotel wasn't far, about a 20-minute walk. Wyatt tossed his car keys to Leo, letting him figure it out. Leo, being too cheap to get a hotel room, would usually just drive Wyatt's car back to his dorm and then drive back in the morning. After leaving the restaurant, Wyatt and Chloe walked hand in hand toward the hotel. They had spent the entire afternoon lounging around and weren't sleepy at all. "Did your dad go to Philly this week?" Wyatt asked. "I haven't asked yet. You don't even care about something like that. My dad's already working on it. Now it all depends on when my mom has a change of heart. Me caring won't make a difference." "That's true. Dork, are we going to stay in New York in the future or go back to Riverwood?" "You mean after graduation?" "Yeah. The company's in New York, so we'll probably have to stay here. But your parents and my parents are all in Riverwood, so we'll definitely have to go home to visit them often." "Why the sudden question?" "Just asking. I feel like you're not telling me the whole truth. I just want to know where our future home will be. Looks like you can't wait to marry me." Wyatt had meant to tease her, but Chloe didn't have much of a reaction. She seemed to let out a soft MHM. When Wyatt didn't respond for a moment, she looked up a little displeased. "Don't you want to marry me?" Seeing her serious and stubborn expression, Wyatt quickly pulled her into his arms and chuckled. "Of course I do. How could I not?" Chloe didn't struggle in his embrace. She just poked his stomach with her finger, a silent, playful gesture. They slowly made their way back to the hotel. After they had both showered and changed into pajamas, a new routine. Wyatt's pajamas were bought by Miranda. Chloe's were a deep pink, his a deep blue, but the style was identical, a perfect couple set. Seeing Wyatt lying on the bed watching videos on his phone, Chloe turned and asked, "What are you watching?" "The Amazing Race. Ashley used to watch that in the dorm. I hear it's hilarious." Chloe knelt on the bed, her slippers sliding off onto the floor. She crawled over to Wyatt's side, resting her head on his shoulder to watch with him. Worried she might be cold, Wyatt asked, "Do you want to get under the covers?" "I'm not cold." The air conditioning had been on all afternoon, and they had turned it on again as soon as they got back. The room temperature was a steady 77 degrees, much warmer than the windy outdoors. Wyatt offered his arm, and Chloe cooperatively lifted her head to rest on it. The early seasons of the show were genuinely funny, and even though Wyatt had seen them long ago, he had forgotten most of it. They would both burst out laughing at the funny parts. After watching 2 episodes, it was already past 10 o'clock. Wyatt stretched and placed his phone on the nightstand. "It's getting late. Time for bed. Chloe didn't move. At some point, her legs had draped over his. This was her new favorite sleeping position. Every morning when she woke up, she was draped over him like this. If Wyatt moved too much, she would playfully scratch his stomach with her small hand. Wyatt looked down at Chloe's size 7 feet and suddenly sat up. He grabbed her ankle with a smile. How long has it been since you cut your nails? They're so long. Only about 2 weeks. Do you have nail clippers? Wait a minute. Wyatt got up to search his bag. I think I have some in my bag. I'll clip them for you. You don't have to. I'll do it myself when I get back to the dorm tomorrow. Wyatt ignored her. After rummaging through his bag for a while, he actually found a pair of nail clippers. He sat down on the bed seriously, then insisted Chloe rest her foot on his lap. He then began to clip the nails on this foot that looked like a work of art. He wouldn't allow any factor to mar its beauty, so he clipped them meticulously and carefully, taking a long time to finish. He inspected his work, and finally, satisfied, he kissed the top of her foot. So, how's my handiwork? Chloe squirmed, her face flushing. A girl's foot shouldn't be held in a man's hands for so long. Don't think I don't know what you're doing. You're just trying to take advantage of me. Hey now, is this what you call taking advantage? Yes. Hearing this, Wyatt flipped over and straddled her waist. He leaned down, cupped her jaw, and kissed her on the forehead, both cheeks, the tip of her nose, and her chin. Then he wiped his mouth. This is what you call taking advantage. Okay. Get off me. I won't. You're hurting me. Wyatt immediately got off and placed his hand above her navel. Where does it hurt? Chloe suddenly burst out laughing. I was kidding. Oh, so you're playing with me, are you? Ha ha. That tickles. Stop. Ha. Beg me. Ha. I'm begging you. Sorry's not good enough. Say it, hubby. Only then did Wyatt stop. Chloe had been twisting and turning on the bed to escape the tickling, her face flushed red. After Wyatt turned off the light, she suddenly turned and gave his hand a fierce bite. Wyatt didn't cry out in pain. Instead, he tucked her in, then offered his hand to her again with a wicked smile. Why don't you bite me again, and then call me hubby one more time? Shut up and go to sleep. On Saturday, Wyatt and Chloe ended up at Elaine's house again. They had planned to leave at noon, but Elaine's hospitality was too much to resist, so they stayed until the afternoon. Just as they were leaving, a light rain began to fall. Unsure of where to go, they decided to return to the hotel and kill time watching the amazing race. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, it had also been raining for several days. Charles held his phone, pacing restlessly in his hotel room. On previous weekends, when the weather was good, he and Miranda would go for walks and explore. But with the constant rain, he had only seen her for dinner last night. He hadn't even seen her face today. Thinking that he had to leave tomorrow, Charles was hesitating, wondering if he should go up to Miranda's room and see her directly. But after struggling for a long time, he couldn't muster the courage. So, he took out his phone and called his daughter first. When Chloe saw her dad's call, she made a gesture to Wyatt and quickly answered. Hey, Chloe. Dad, what's up? Charles was too embarrassed to be direct, so he beat around the bush. What are you doing? Chloe answered honestly. It's raining outside, so I'm watching a show to pass the time. It's raining in New York, too? Has your mom called you this week? No. Chloe quickly asked. Didn't you go to Philly to see Mom this week? I'm here. Charles followed her lead. Can you ask your mom what she's doing right now? Chloe frowned. You're in Philly. Why are you asking me? Wyatt could hear their entire conversation. Seeing Chloe fall silent, he couldn't help but say, Okay, we'll ask right now. Wyatt exited the video app, opened Messenger, and sent a voice message to Miranda. Annie Miranda, are you busy? Chloe and Charles both held their breath. About 10 seconds later, Miranda's voice came through Wyatt's phone. No, what's wrong? Wyatt chuckled. Oh, nothing. Chloe and I just got back from Annie Elaine's, and she wanted to know if you've been busy lately. Miranda knew instantly it was a lie. She and Elaine talked almost every day. They had even spoken on the phone last night, but she didn't expose them. She simply replied, It's been all right. It's been raining in Philly, so I'm just reading in the hotel. Oh, it's raining here in New York, too. We're watching a show to pass the time. After a brief chat, Wyatt took the phone from Chloe and said to Charles, Uncle, you're all the way in Philly, and you can't even see Anna Miranda? Don't you know how to be persistent? Charles hung up the phone with a huff. But thinking about it, it seemed that both Miranda and his own daughter were susceptible to Wyatt's charm. Maybe his way would actually work. After some thought, Charles finally made a decision. He stepped out of his hotel room, took the elevator up to Miranda's floor, and stood at her door. Ding dong. As expected, the doorbell rang. When Wyatt had sent her the message, Miranda had already guessed he was on a reconnaissance mission for Charles. In truth, Miranda was intentionally ignoring Charles to see when he would finally take the initiative. She wanted him to change in that regard. She wanted to know what was more important to him, his pride or her. So this was in fact a test. Miranda opened the door and saw Charles standing outside. She wasn't surprised at all. She just asked faintly, "What is it?" In the elevator, Charles had already prepared an excuse, but now he couldn't bring himself to say it. Wyatt's words, "Be persistent," seemed to be echoing in his ears. "So," he said, "can't I come see you if there's nothing wrong?" Miranda asked, "What are you really trying to do?" Charles squeezed into her room, acting uncharacteristically shameless for once. "I'm leaving tomorrow. I just wanted to spend more time with you." Humph. That evening, Leo came to the hotel to get the car keys from Wyatt and took Sophie out for a bowl of hot lamb ramen. After dropping her off at her dorm, Leo said, "If it's still raining tomorrow, I won't come over. I have some stuff to do at school." Sophie just said, "Oh. Also, this summer, I have to work at Wyatt's company for a month first. In August, if you're free, do you want to go on a trip?" "Where to?" "The Poconos." Sophie frowned. "Aren't the Poconos in the same state as Riverwood?" Leo nodded awkwardly. Sophie glanced at his expression, and everything became clear. She neither agreed nor refused, simply saying lightly, "We'll see then." Leo was a little disappointed. Sophie was a little nervous. Leo was disappointed because he was afraid Sophie would refuse him. Sophie was nervous because she knew that if she went to Riverwood, she would inevitably have to meet Leo's parents. The thought made her palms sweat. "Okay, I'll ask you again then." Sophie was still lost in thought, her mind filled with awkward meet-the-parents scenes from TV shows. She didn't say anything for a long time. Leo looked at her profile and suddenly blurted out, "I want to kiss you. Is that okay?" "Huh." Sophie immediately turned to look at him. If Wyatt had been there, he would have slapped Leo on the back of the head and yelled, "Are you sick? If you want to kiss her, just kiss her. Why do you have to ask?" How is she supposed to answer that? Sophie met Leo's gaze, her hands clutching the straps of her bag. After a long moment, she gave a slight nod. It really was a case of like attracts like. Leo clumsily leaned in and kissed her. After about 10 seconds, it was over, but he was incredibly satisfied, smiling sheepishly as he said, "Good night." "Good night." Sophie hurried out of the car and walked quickly into the women's dorm. Leo turned the car around and headed back to his own school. At that very moment, in a hotel room not far away, Wyatt was asking Chloe a question of his own. He said, with a perfectly straight face, "Can I put my hand inside your shirt?" Chloe quickly covered her chest, her expression wary. "What are you trying to do?" Wyatt shook his head, looking as innocent as a choir boy. "I'm not trying to do anything. I just want to feel if you have me in your heart." "Get lost." On my way. The so-called youth investment networking event was, in reality, a gathering for New York's financial elite. They pulled into the parking garage of a five-star hotel. After Michael and Wyatt got out of the car, they were led by a hostess to a magnificent banquet hall. The room was already teeming with people. A quick scan revealed that most were around 30 years old, all in suits and ties, looking every bit the part of the upper class. Hostesses in red and black professional attire moved through the crowd with trays of red wine, making Wyatt feel like he had stepped onto a movie set. Michael took 2 glasses of red wine, handed one to Wyatt, and led him into the crowd. "Michael, you finally showed up. Mr. Hold on, Mr. Chong, you guys are early. I heard your uncle put you in charge of the investment department as soon as you got back." "Not at all, just a supervisor of a small division. It's only a matter of time. Michael, and this is my good buddy, Wyatt Hunt of C. Investments." Wyatt stepped forward, extending his hand with a smile. "Hello, nice to meet you." The men Michael called Mr. Hua and Mr. Chong quickly shook his hand, although Wyatt seemed too young to them and they had never heard of C. Investments. Anyone who was a good friend of Michael, Jiao, couldn't be ordinary. "This is Mr. Hua, head of the capital markets department at Silver Star Securities. And this is Mr. Chong, head of the personal financial services department at Central Star Bank." Just as expected, the people here were all heavy hitters, and their conversation topics were equally high level. After Wyatt had greeted a few people with Michael, he spotted a familiar face. "Isn't that Brandon from the club the other night?" "Yeah, that's him. Aren't we going to say hi?" Michael shook his head. "If he doesn't come to us, we don't need to go to him. His dad only has him as a son, so he had no choice but to let him into the company. This guy knocked up a girl in high school. He couldn't make it in this country, so his dad sent him to Singapore. He came back the same screw-up he always was. I can't be bothered with him." Wyatt shrugged and followed Michael to a nearby table to grab some small cakes. As they were eating, a distinctly female voice rang out from behind them. "Mikey." The moment Michael heard the voice, the smile vanished from his face. Before he could even turn around, a woman his age grabbed his ear. "You've been back for so long, and you didn't even come to see me," she scolded. "You've gotten bold, haven't you?" Michael quickly pleaded, "Judy, please, have mercy." The short-haired woman slapped him on the butt. We're back in the country. Why are you still calling me by my English name? Right, Jiao. What wind blew you in today? What? Only men are allowed to come. Besides, this is my turf. That's not what I meant. Wyatt watched the two of them with great interest, thinking, Michael, oh Michael, you're just destined to be bullied by women. Judy finally let go of Michael when she noticed Wyatt. She looked him up and down and smiled. Michael, who's this handsome guy? My friend. He's pretty handsome. Seeing that Judy was about to make a move, Michael quickly pulled Wyatt to his side. Jiao, he's already taken. You can forget about cradle robbing. Judy immediately got worked up, jumping up and putting Michael in headlock. Who are you calling a cradle robber? I'm only 18 this year, you know. Yes, you're 18. You're 18. You're forever 18. Judy pushed Michael away and extended her hand to Wyatt. Let's get to know each other. Judy, you. Nice to meet you, Judy. I'm Wyatt Hunt. So polite. She purred, then kicked Michael again. Look and learn. Michael was on the verge of tears. He was completely helpless against Judy. Not only did Judy have a powerful father, but her grandfather had also helped Michael's father 20 years ago. The two families, though in different industries, had been close since their grandfather's time. With this connection, Michael had been bullied by Judy since before he went abroad to study. Every time he went home to complain, his father would just ignore him, telling him to let Judy have her way, because she was a girl. But in Michael's eyes at the time, Judy was no girl. She was a tomboy who didn't know how to hold back. Judy was a year ahead of Michael. In her senior year of high school, she had gotten into UC Berkeley on her own merits. Tragically, Michael also ended up at a UC school the following year. He never dreamed he would run into Judy abroad. Fortunately, she had gone abroad a year earlier and returned a year earlier than him. Don't leave when this is over. I'm gonna go say hi to them first. Okay. The moment Judy turned around, Michael grabbed Wyatt, ready to make a run for it. But Judy, as if she had anticipated it, turned back and pointed a threatening finger at him. If I can't find you later, you're dead. I won't, Michael said, his smile more pain than a grimace. After Judy left, Wyatt asked curiously, who is that formidable woman? Didn't you hear her say this is her turf? Her dad is the boss of the Golden River Group. You've heard of the Golden River Group, right? Don't tell me all the Golden River hotels are their family's property. You guessed it. Holy cow. The Golden River Hotel was a world-class hotel group. No wonder Michael was as timid as a mouse in front of her. Michael draped an arm around Wyatt's shoulder. Let me tell you, you can offend anyone in New York, but don't you dare offend this woman. Otherwise, even I can't help you. Is it really that serious? Seriously, I used to suspect she was actually a man. Sounds like there's a lot of history between you two. Tell me about it. Michael sighed heavily. It's a story full of tears. Long story short, her grandfather helped my dad, so our families have always been close. We went to the same middle in high school. With the family connection and my dad owing her family a favor, that woman basically treated me like her personal slave. I thought I could escape her by studying abroad, but it turns out she was also at a UC school. Damn it, those 2 years abroad almost gave me psychological trauma. Huh. After listening to Michael's sob story, Wyatt couldn't help but search for Judy in the crowd. She moved through the room, and even though she wasn't part of the finance circle, everyone she passed was polite to her. But Wyatt also noticed someone else. He turned his head. Michael, why is that Brandon guy following her around? Michael followed his gaze and scoffed. Brandon has always had a thing for her. His old man has said more than once in public, if only Judy could be my daughter-in-law. Judy knows what kind of person Brandon is and has always ignored him. Mister, you, Judy's dad, found out about it and, at an event once, pointed at Brandon's father and chewed him out. After that, his dad never dared to mention it in public again. But Brandon just won't give up. To put it bluntly, it's a toad lusting after a swan. I see. As Michael continued to explain the backstory, Judy finished her rounds and returned to them, with Brandon still trailing behind her like a lackey. Judy completely ignored him and waved at Michael and Wyatt. Come with me. Michael and Wyatt exchanged a look and, under the oppressive aura of Ms. Yu, obediently followed. This was her family's hotel, so she knew the layout like the back of her hand. As they walked, they passed numerous staff members who all bowed their heads respectfully and greeted her. Miss you. Wyatt had only ever seen such a scene in movies. He thought to himself, this is a real eye-opener. 5-star hotels always have dedicated floors for recreation. Judy led Michael, Wyatt, and the persistent Brandon to a lounge area by the water bar. Wyatt pulled out a chair, preparing to sit next to Michael. But Judy pulled out the chair next to her and said to Wyatt, handsome, you sit here. Wyatt glanced at Brandon, who was about to sit next to Judy, and understood she wanted him to be a shield. He quickly got up and sat down beside her. Brandon glared at him before sullenly taking a seat next to Michael. Mikey, I hear you're in a relationship? Michael's face stiffened. He stared at her. How did you know? My mom told me. As for how my mom knew, you'll have to ask your mom. Michael sighed, looking utterly defeated. He knew that if his mom had spread the word, every socialite in New York would know by now. Judy added fuel to the fire. When do I get to meet this girlfriend of yours? No, I wasn't asking for your permission. Judy, please, just spare me. Relax, I just want to meet her. I won't expose your secrets, and I definitely won't bring up that failed romance of yours from. Stop. Michael put his hands together and bowed to her twice. I'll arrange it, okay? For the sake of my marital happiness. I'm begging you. Please go easy on me when you meet her. Oomph. Judy rolled her eyes at Michael, then turned her attention to Wyatt. Michael, I haven't seen this handsome guy before. He must be a friend you made after you came back. Yeah. Seeing Judy change the subject, Michael quickly went along with it. Don't let his age fool you. He started his own investment company last year. The projects he's invested in are all very promising. Even my uncle has praised him. Is that so? That's impressive. Seeing Judy's attention completely focused on Wyatt, Brandon, sitting opposite them, felt a pang of jealousy. He had looked into Wyatt after their encounter at the club and couldn't resist chiming in. I heard he made his fortune by investing in a movie. $30 million from one film. But investing in movies is considered an unconventional path in this business. I'd say the kid just got lucky. Wyatt didn't argue, just smiled. It was definitely luck. Making money is a skill. Luck is a form of strength, Michael quickly added. And he did it all on his own, without anyone's help. So he's a rising star. Wyatt laughed. I'd love to rely on my family like you guys, but my dad just wasn't ambitious enough. Huh. Wyatt's joke seemed to hit Judy's funny bone. She clutched her stomach, laughing so hard she doubled over. This only made Brandon, who was already annoyed with Wyatt, even angrier. The woman I like, what right do you have to make her laugh? But Brandon didn't dare show it. For one, he couldn't afford to offend Michael. For another, he didn't want to lose his composure in front of Judy. After a long moment, Judy finally caught her breath. Actually, I didn't just come here today for the fun of it. I recently had an idea to start my own business. Give me a break. Michael scoffed as soon as she finished. What do you need to start a business for? You have everything you need. When you were abroad, your parents visited you constantly. Do you think they'd let you start a business? Are you looking for a beating? Judy explained, it's just so boring staying at home all day. And the business idea I have is a guaranteed moneymaker. Wyatt smiled. Judy, are you saying you want to start a business, but your family doesn't support it, so you came here today looking for investors? You're the smart one. Judy said, to be precise, I'm looking for a partner. I have some money of my own, but it's not enough, so I want to find a partner to invest. Michael wouldn't dare get involved in anything related to Judy. But Wyatt said, if it's truly a can't-lose business, I might consider it. Michael's face turned green. Dude, were you not listening to me? Didn't I tell you not to mess with this woman? But before Michael could react, Brandon jumped in. How much money can your company even come up with? Judy, tell me how much you need. I'll transfer it to your account tomorrow. Judy chuckled. Though her parents didn't support her entrepreneurial ambitions, if she really pleaded with her dad, getting a few million would be easy. To outsiders, starting a business was a risky venture. But to Judy, spending a few million on a startup was no different than her childhood whims of learning piano or dance. She shook her head and politely refused. No need. This guy's more my style. I'd rather talk to him about it. But, just as Brandon was about to protest, Michael cut him off. That's enough. When Judy makes up her mind, no one can change it. You're just wasting your breath. Brandon's fist clenched. He shot a hostile glare at Wyatt, then stood up and stormed away. Did I offend him? Wyatt asked after Brandon left, feigning ignorance. Judy's smile faded. She shook her head. Don't worry about him. Wyatt glanced at the time. It's getting late. If I head back any later, I won't be able to get into my dorm. Dorm? Judy was surprised. You're still in school? Yeah, I'm a sophomore. A sophomore? Then you're only 20. That's right. Judy was still a little skeptical. She looked at Michael, who nodded in confirmation. She let out a series of impressed clicks of her tongue. When Brandon had tried to sit next to her, she had gestured for Wyatt to take the seat, worried he wouldn't understand her intention. But he had cooperated perfectly. And later, when they were talking about starting a business, if Wyatt hadn't jumped in, she would have had no reason to refuse Brandon. It was clear now that this guy had high EQ. I'm heading out then. Michael, we'll catch up next time. All right, wait a minute. Judy smiled. That investment thing we were talking about. When do you want to discuss the details? Wyatt wasn't sure if she was serious or just joking. He took out his phone. How about we add each other on Messenger first? Sure. Judy agreed readily. After they exchanged contact information, Wyatt left the Golden River Hotel and drove back to school. Judy, Michael said, "You were just kidding about the startup, right?" "Who told you I was kidding? But what's the point? None of your business." Judy stood up, walked over to Michael, and with lightning speed, grabbed his ear. "This weekend, you have to let me meet your girlfriend. I need to vet her for you." "Fine, I get it." Hearing Judy's footsteps fade away, Michael rubbed his ear and muttered, "That damn tomboy. No wonder she's so old and still single." Achoo. Judy stopped at the door and turned around. "Michael, were you just bad-mouthing me?" Michael's face went pale. "Of course not. Remember what I said. Don't forget." Wyatt felt that the evening had been productive. At the very least, he had gotten Judy's contact information. That woman was a force to be reckoned with, and he might need her help in the future. In business, it was always good to know influential people. What might be a huge problem for him could be a trivial matter for them. He had already seen this with Michael. If Michael hadn't been there when Trevor Connolly had blocked his way, Wyatt wouldn't have known how to handle the situation. The night passed without incident. The next morning, the four roommates were once again woken up by the jarring sound of the killers. Wyatt lingered in bed for a while, saw the gloomy sky outside, checked the weather forecast, and sent a message to Chloe. "Wyatt, it's going to rain again today. Remember to bring an umbrella." Chloe, who also had an A.M. class, had just woken up. Seeing Wyatt's message, her sleepiness vanished. "Chloe, I know." "Wyatt, if it's cold, remember to wear leggings." "Chloe, I'm wearing my fleece-lined ones today." "Wyatt, what kind? Send me a picture." "Chloe, no." "Wyatt, please." "Chloe, no." "Wyatt, I'm begging you. Haven't you heard the saying? A look at some legs on a Monday brings good fortune all week." Chloe laughed, but didn't reply immediately. A few minutes later, she sent him a picture. That morning, Wyatt dutifully attended his 2 required lecture classes. After lunch at the dining hall, he went straight to the office. As he and Chris reached the entrance, they ran into Frank, who was on his way out to throw away a takeout container. "Mr. Hunt, Mr. Cheem." Wyatt smiled. "The school is so close, and you're still ordering takeout?" Frank explained it saves time. Going back and forth takes over half an hour. Wyatt just smiled and didn't say anything else. Inside the company, Sam was sitting at the front desk eating with Rachel and Abby. When they saw Wyatt, Abby and Rachel quickly stood up. Wyatt waved his hand dismissively and pointed to his watch. "It's your break. Please relax." Chris slung an arm around Wyatt's shoulder and whispered, "Why do I feel like Sam is getting closer and closer to those two? You think it's Rachel or Abby? What do you mean?" "Huh. Whoa, are you saying that Sam is?" Chris was about to shout when Wyatt jabbed him in the stomach with his elbow, silencing him. Carter seemed to have heard them. He came out of his office and said directly to Wyatt, "David Kong is running out of money. He called me this morning saying he urgently needs a second round of funding. Let's talk in my office." Okay. Once they were in the office, Carter explained the current situation with the OFO bike project. Of course, he added at the end, "This is mostly what David told me. We don't know the real situation. I think we should be cautious about the second round of funding. At the very least, we should send someone to Palo Alto to verify." "How much are they looking for this time?" $2 million. Wyatt nodded. "If the situation is as he says, then we should still make the investment. It looks like you'll have to make a trip. I'll need to take an assistant." "Frank or David?" "David. He's more steady." "All right." According to David Kang's plan, the next step is to expand the OFO bike service to first and second tier cities nationwide. The B round of funding will definitely require a lot of money, which we don't have, so we can't participate. This time, we have to negotiate the terms properly. My principle is the same. We don't have to meddle in their company's affairs, but we must fight for the benefits we deserve. "Got it. I'll book a flight for tomorrow." That afternoon, Wyatt spent some time in his office looking over the OFO bike materials. Thinking about last night, he also searched online for information about Brandon and Judy. There was information online about Brandon's family. His father was the owner of a mid-tier investment management company in New York, nothing compared to Apex Capital. But for Judy, there was absolutely nothing online. It seemed the wealthier the family, the more low-key they were, and the less information was exposed to the public. Ding. Wyatt's phone screen lit up as he was scrolling. He picked it up and saw it was a message from Chloe. "Chloe, dork, have you eaten?" Wyatt, "Not yet." Chloe, "Me neither. I don't have much of an appetite." She quickly added, suddenly craving those frosted sour cherries you bought me last year. Just as Wyatt was about to reply, Michael sent him a message. "Michael, I'm speechless. Isabelle is mad at me because of Judy." Wyatt, "Why?" Michael, "No reason. I explained everything clearly." Wyatt, "Women. They're not always rational." Michael, "So what should I do now?" Wyatt, "Go see her in person. Sweet talk her a little." Wyatt quickly added, "Don't go empty-handed." There's a shop near my school that sells those frosted sour cherries. They love them. Bring 2 boxes over, and I'll help you explain. Michael, where's the shop? Wyatt, I'll go buy them. You could just come to the office to pick them up. Michael, I'm still at work. I'll have my assistant drive over to get them, and then I'll deliver them. Wyatt, that works. At 6:20 p.m., Michael frantically drove to the girls' dormitory. He called Isabelle, but she didn't pick up. He sent her a text, but she didn't reply. Michael was getting anxious, standing downstairs with no idea what to do. After waiting for a long time, he finally called Wyatt. Hey Wyatt, she's not answering my calls or texts. What should I do now? Wyatt thought to himself, Isabelle, you are so dramatic. But he said, don't worry, I'll ask my girlfriend first. Wait for my call. Okay. After hanging up, Wyatt sent a message to Chloe. Wyatt, Chloe, can you see what Isabelle is doing in the dorm right now? Chloe, receiving the message, turned to look at Isabelle and quickly replied, she's watching a Korean drama. Wyatt, forget it, I'll just ask her myself. Michael is waiting for her downstairs. Chloe, playing the strategist again, are you? Wyatt, I'm just helping people out. Wyatt sent a direct message to Isabelle. Miss Isabelle, what's going on? Michael is going crazy waiting for you downstairs, and you're ignoring him? Isabelle had been waiting for Wyatt to message her. She quickly replied, that jerk Michael suddenly told me he's taking me to meet a friend this weekend. When I asked, I found out this friend is a girl. They were high school classmates and even studied abroad in the same city. Wyatt, are you talking about Judy? Isabelle, you know her? Wyatt, we just met yesterday. No, wait, are you serious? The Yu and Jiao families have known each other since their grandfather's time. Michael is like a mouse in front of a cat when it comes to Judy. You can't possibly think there's something going on between them, can you? Isabelle, that deadbeat Michael only told me they've known each other for a long time. He didn't tell me all this. Wyatt, Judy is the daughter of the Golden River Group's owner, a real tycoon. You'll see when you meet her this weekend. Wyatt continued, I'm calling Michael back now. Well, he gives you an out. Just take it and go downstairs. Isabelle, oh. Wyatt really was playing the part of the long-suffering friend. After clearing things up, he called Michael back. Michael listened and said bitterly, but I told her we're just friends. Why is she still like this? This is a good thing. Wyatt comforted him. A good thing. When a woman gets jealous over you, it means she's really fallen for you. Hearing this, Michael had an epiphany. His gloomy mood vanished, replaced by a foolish grin. Yeah, so what should I do now? Call Isabelle again. I've explained everything for you. She'll pick up this time. Okay. Michael did as he was told. And surprisingly, Isabelle actually answered this time. At that moment, Wyatt also sent a message to Chloe. When Isabelle goes downstairs, you go down too. I had Michael bring an extra box of frosted sour cherries for you. Chloe, huh? How come Michael listens to you so much? Wyatt, I'm a strategist. Who else would he listen to? Chloe, you're so bad. Wyatt, you're the one who said you wanted them. I just asked Michael to bring them over. You don't even thank me, and you call me bad? Chloe, so how should I thank you? Wyatt, call me hubby. In a private villa near Shishan in New York, Judy was sprawled on the sofa, her legs crossed, munching on a cucumber. Mom, that guy Michael is really in a relationship. A gracefully dressed woman beside her said, would your Aunt Susan lie? I hear the girl is a bit young, still in college. Her family background is average, but she seems like a nice person. That deadbeat Michael. He has the nerve to say I'm cradle robbing. He's 25 or 26, and his girlfriend is still in college. Wait, could it be that guy who introduced them? The woman next to her slapped Judy's thigh, slightly annoyed. You have the gall to talk about others? You're a year older than Michael. He's already started dating, and what about you? Ack, Mom. Judy squirmed, looking unhappy. Sit up straight. A young lady with such poor posture. Who would ever want you? Just as Judy was about to retort, a square-jawed, middle-aged man walked in from outside. She quickly got up, linked her arm with his, and said in a wheedling tone, Dad, Mom is nagging me about marriage again. Can you do something about her? The man was, of course, Richard Yu, the owner of the Golden River Group, and the woman on the sofa was his wife, Julia Jiao. Don't nag her about marriage all day. It's not like our daughter is unwanted. Exactly. Julia, seeing the father and daughter in cahoots, said irritably, You just keep spoiling her. When your daughter is in her 30s, you'll have plenty to worry about. Getting married in your 30s is normal nowadays. Exactly. Marriage depends on fate. You can't force it. Exactly. Richard Yu chuckled and tweaked his daughter's nose. If you have nothing to do, go out and have some fun. Don't just sit at home all day. When your mom sees you at home all the time, of course she's going to nag. Dad, that beauty center I told you about. Stop right there. Richard Yu quickly cut her off. If you really want to find something to do, I'll arrange for you to join the group, just like your brother. Starting a business is not as easy as you think. Don't even think about it. Dad, this is not up for discussion. Oof. Judy stomped her foot. If you won't give me money, I'll just borrow it from someone else. Heh. Richard, you said nonchalantly. If I don't give the green light, which investment company in New York would dare to invest in you? Dad, all right, go wash your hands. Get ready for dinner. I'm not eating. I'm on a diet. Julia, fine, starve then. Richard, you say a few words less. Judy stomped upstairs sullenly. She pushed open her bedroom door, sat on her bed, and took out her phone, opening Messenger. Seeing the contacts she had added last night, Judy hesitated for a moment before sending a message. Judy, hey handsome, you there? Wyatt was a little surprised to receive a message from Judy, but he replied quickly. Wyatt, just got back to the dorm. Judy, send me your company address. I'll come find you tomorrow to talk about the investment. Wyatt, Judy, you're not joking with me, are you? Judy, yesterday I was. Today I'm not. Wyatt, all right. Wyatt, see? Investments, address. Judy, I can't get up in the morning. I'll come find you in the afternoon. Wyatt, okay. Wyatt, see you tomorrow then? Judy, see you tomorrow. Perhaps it was because for her entire life, Judy, you had always been able to do whatever she wanted. This time, however, when her family flatly refused to support her entrepreneurial ambitions, a rebellious spark ignited within her. She woke up groggily around 10 the next morning and immediately began her routine of showering, dressing, and applying makeup. After a quick lunch at home, she set out early, knowing Wyatt's office was a bit of a drive. She navigated her pink Porsche 718 toward the Vibe building in Dumbo. Meanwhile, Wyatt had called Abby Zhang into his office. We have a very important guest coming this afternoon, he said. A woman, last name you. Go tell Rachel that when she arrives, she should be brought directly to my office. And brew a pot of our best tea. Got it, Abby replied. Around 2 o'clock, just as the office lunch break was ending, Rachel heard the distinct click-clack of high heels echoing down the hallway. She looked up to see Judy, draped in luxury brands, striding toward the entrance. Remembering Wyatt's instructions, Rachel quickly went to greet her with a warm smile. Are you Miss? You? Yes. Our boss is waiting for you in his office. Please follow me. As Rachel led the way, Judy scanned the environment of Wyatt's company. When they reached the office door, Rachel raised a hand to knock, but Judy simply pushed the door open and walked right in. Well, hotshot, she announced, her voice filling the room. This place of yours isn't easy to find. Hotshot? That's a new one, Wyatt thought, a little amused. He rose with a smile. Can't be helped. It's a small company, nothing compared to the big leagues. Judy settled onto the sofa. My father always says that anyone who can build something from scratch these days is a force to be reckoned with. It was true. The more society progressed, the fewer opportunities there were for startups. The last couple of years were still manageable, but in a few more, it would be even harder. After the rise of giants like TikTok and Amazon, the internet industry was pretty much a monopoly, and it was rare to see another truly game-changing company emerge. After Abby served the tea, Wyatt came over and sat on the adjacent sofa. Judy, let's cut to the chase. Why are you really here today? He asked with a grin. I find it hard to believe you're short on cash for a new venture. Do I look like a liar to you? Well, my dad doesn't support my business idea, Judy said, getting straight to the point. But with me, the more someone tells me not to do something, the more I want to do it. He made it clear that as long as he doesn't give his approval, no investment firm will dare to touch my project. I figured, since you don't know my dad, and my dad doesn't know you. So you came to me? Bingo. Wyatt chuckled. And if your dad finds out, he's not going to have me whacked, is he? Haha, what do you think? Wyatt's resources were finite. He was at a point where he needed to stretch every dollar. So, even with Judy's formidable background laid bare, he was direct. Judy, I'm not like Michael. He's a trust fund kid. I might have my own company, but I'm still basically broke, living on less than $3,000 a month. I'm not saying this to cry poor, but to make a point, if you bring me a project with a clear path to profitability, I'm in. But if it's a money pit, I can't touch it. I have a lot of people depending on me. Judy waved a dismissive hand. Oh, please. Relax. This project is a guaranteed moneymaker. How so? Wyatt asked, intrigued. I want to open a high-end beauty center. A beauty center? Exactly, she said, leaning forward. I know enough socialites in New York to line them up from one end of the Hudson to the other. Not to mention, a lot of actresses in the industry are my friends. You have no idea. They spend at least 6 figures a month on beauty treatments. If I open a center, they'll have to come and show their support just for me. You think that kind of business won't make money? Wyatt grinned. When you put it like that, it does sound promising. So, how much are you looking for? 10 million. Wyatt nearly choked on his tea. 10 million? To open a beauty center? Judy rolled her eyes. What do you know? Wealthy people care about prestige. If we're targeting the high-end crowd, the place has to be top tier. And honestly, that's a conservative estimate. Jesus Christ, Wyatt thought. You really have no concept of money when you're not the one earning it. I only put $5 million into MiHoYo. Just as he was about to speak, Judy continued. I have some money of my own, about $5 million saved up, so you only need to invest another $5 million. But, she added quickly, holding up a finger, even though we're putting in the same amount of cash, the equity won't be equal. I know a brilliant esthetician with her own established team, so I'm bringing not just money, but also the talent. Plus, I'll be managing the center. Therefore, I want 67% of the shares. Anyone in business knew that 67% was the magic number for absolute control, enough to make unilateral decisions. It also proved that Judy had done her homework. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Her father was a titan. It was impossible for her to have zero business sense. Wyatt considered it. The project was worth a risk. It wasn't the potential of the business itself, but the value of Judy's network. Just as she said, she knew countless socialites and celebrities. For Vivian's brand, they would eventually need a celebrity endorsement for a new product launch. If he could build a good relationship with these stars, it could potentially save them millions in endorsement fees. After a moment of deliberation, Wyatt made his decision. All right, I'm in. He extended his right hand, his expression serious. I hope we can have a great partnership, Judy. Seeing how formal he was, Judy realized for the first time that $5 million was likely not a small sum for him. This was only their second meeting. His decision couldn't have been an easy one. Touched, she reached out and shook his hand, a genuine smile spreading across her face. To a great partnership. Once you're ready, I'll have my people send over the contract. Relax, relax, she said playfully. Stick with Big Sister, and I won't let you lose a dime. I certainly hope so, Wyatt thought. Judy didn't stay long. That evening, Wyatt told Michael about it. Judy came to see me today. To see you? For what? To talk about an investment. She was serious? Yep. At first, I thought she was joking too. Wait, you didn't agree, did you? I did. What the hell? I told you not to mess with her, and you go and mess with her. I'm telling you right now, if she's ever at a gathering, don't even think about inviting me. I can't handle that Amazonian woman. Buy me dinner. I'm now friends with the two women you fear most in this world. I could ruin you with a single sentence. Should I send a screenshot of this conversation to Judy? I'll buy. From now on, all your expenses are on your little brother. Through March's mist and haze, the orioles sing and grasses grow long. In the drifting willow catkins, I see my hometown. After being chewed out countless times, Alex had finally changed his morning alarm to the gentler melody of You Found Me by The Fray. For some reason, hearing the 2009 hit again gave Wyatt a strange sense of déjà vu, as if the first time he'd heard it was a lifetime ago. Get up, show his face in class, then head to the office. From Monday to Friday, Wyatt's life was monotonous. After sealing the beauty sitter deal with Judy, she had been incredibly proactive, signing the contract within 2 days. Wyatt didn't pay too much attention to her subsequent steps. It would be at least 2 or 3 months before the center was up and running anyway. On Thursday afternoon, Michael called Wyatt, suggesting they all get dinner on Friday night. Judy would be there too, and he wanted Wyatt to run interference so the Amazonian woman wouldn't aim all her fire at him. Wyatt readily agreed. After a full day at the office, he returned to his dorm that evening. Alex was roping Chris and Wyatt into a game of poker, with cheap hot dogs from the campus food truck strip as the stakes. Sam sat alone at his desk, staring blankly at a book, his eyes glazed over, clearly lost in thought. Chris, having won the last hand, dealt the cards. Ever since Carter took David to New York, Frank seems a little resentful. He looks completely disengaged at the office. It's normal. You're not going to talk to him? Wyatt shook his head. There's no need right now. Whether he stays or goes doesn't impact the company. If he's really going to self-destruct over this, then it's better if he leaves. Anyway, I've already spoken with Irene. I think she'll stick around as long as the company keeps moving forward. True, Chris said. 3 of a kind. Haha, beat it. Alex threw down 3 jacks and then a straight from 6 to 10. With 2 cards left, he was about to toss them down triumphantly. What's your damn hurry? Wyatt casually dropped 4 aces on the table. 4 of a kind. Alex's eyes widened. Are you kidding me? How did you get all the aces again? Wyatt played out his remaining cards one by one. That doubles it. Plus the previous hands. You now owe me 13 hot dogs. Chris laughed. And you owe me 7. Damn it again. Alex said, refusing to concede. I'm dealing this time. Sam snapped out of his trance. He glanced at the 3 playing cards, hesitated for a moment, and finally called out, Wyatt, What's up? Can I ask you something? Shoot. It's just, if it's a friend's birthday, what kind of gift is appropriate? Sam asked hesitantly. Wyatt paused, then nonchalantly replied, how close of a friend? Chris glanced up at Sam, then at Wyatt, and a knowing smile touched his lips as he continued to draw his cards. I guess a good friend. For a good friend, something practical is always a good bet. What about the price range? Sam pressed. $100, maybe a little more. You know the saying, right? A promise ring is a gesture of love, and so is a diamond ring. It just has to fit your circumstances. If you give something too expensive, it might put pressure on them. Sam thought that made a lot of sense, but he also sensed Wyatt knew more than he was letting on, so he didn't say anything else. Alex, however, chimed in. What was it you said about rings and stuff? Say it again. I need to write that down. Wyatt shot Alex a look. I said a promise ring is love, and so is a rose in the trash can. But not every crush in the world can turn into a real relationship. Who said that? I did. Fearing Wyatt would bail on him, Michael snuck out of work early on Friday afternoon and drove to Wyatt's office, practically dragging him downstairs. As their two cars arrived at the music school, the bell for the second afternoon class was ringing. A flock of colorfully dressed girls streamed out of the building's exit. You gotta admit, Michael said cheerfully, the overall quality in art school is definitely higher. Wyatt's attention wasn't on the crowd. He was looking down, texting Chloe. Only after she replied, we're coming down now. Did he look up? A few minutes later, the four roommates from 205 emerged from the building together. Chloe spotted Wyatt's car and quickened her pace towards him. Isabelle, as usual, walked at a leisurely pace behind with Sophie and Ashley. Seeing this, Michael felt a pang of envy for Wyatt. But when Isabelle approached, he still scrambled out of the car, circled around to the passenger side, and obsequiously opened the door for her. Since it was still early, Wyatt called Sophie in his car to go pick up Leo. Michael, meanwhile, took Isabelle and Ashley to find a place for dinner. The two groups agreed to meet at the restaurant later. On the way, Sophie, sitting in the back, took the initiative to ask, Wyatt, why is Michael treating everyone to dinner again? Oh, a friend of his wants to meet Isabelle. A rich, older woman. Huh, you'll see tonight, Wyatt said with a laugh. Anyway, it's a free meal. Might as well enjoy it. Sophie chuckled at that. That's true. With Leo not in the car, Wyatt decided to do some recon for him. He asked directly, so what's the plan for summer break? Are you thinking of going to Riverwood with Leo? The topic made Sophie a bit shy, but since Leo wasn't there, she hesitated for a moment before shaking her head. I haven't decided yet. You should go. Meeting his parents is no big deal. Well, what are his parents like? They're great, Chloe answered from the front seat before Wyatt could. Wyatt added, his parents run a small supermarket back home. They're really easygoing people. At most, you'll just have a meal with them. Meeting the parents isn't as scary as you think. Ask Chloe if you don't believe me. Sophie considered it, then mumbled, I'll go if I go. But Wyatt, you can't tell Leo I've already agreed. Of course. Chloe was currently lost in the memory of the awkward first meeting between her parents and Wyatt's. Wyatt yawned, patted his mouth, and seeing Chloe staring blankly out the passenger window, he deliberately teased her. Chloe, you think we should get a new car this year? Huh? Chloe snapped back to reality. Why? We haven't had this one for long. Wyatt grinned. It's too small. It's not even convenient to make out in here. Chloe was momentarily stunned. From the back seat, a blushing Sophie yelled, Wyatt, I'm still in the car. When Judy used pink Porsche 718 pulled up in front of the restaurant, it instantly became the center of attention for a 100-yard radius. Michael reluctantly got up, walked to the door, and escorted her inside. Michael pointed at Judy, looking slightly awkward. Let me introduce you. This is Judy. Our families have known each other for generations. Judy smiled magnanimously. Hello, handsome boys and beautiful girls. People born into wealth were often like this. Outgoing, lively, and generous, unlike children from ordinary families who were often timid and cautious when navigating the world. Judy was a year older than Michael, almost 27. When she was in college, Wyatt and the others were still in 5th or 6th grade. In her eyes, the attractive young people at the table were just a bunch of kids. Mickey, Judy said, her gaze sweeping over the group before landing on Isabelle. She asked with a bright smile, this lovely young lady must be your girlfriend, right? Yeah, I knew it. Judy pulled out a chair and sat down next to Isabelle. Then, with the ease of a natural socialite, she wrapped an arm around Isabelle and began peppering her with questions. How did you two meet? How does he treat you? Have you met his parents? Michael's face was a mask of resentment. This damn busybody, he thought. You're not my elder. What gives you the right to ask all these questions? But he wouldn't dare say that out loud. looking as pathetic as a kicked puppy. After a few exchanges, Isabelle understood why Wyatt had said, "You'll know their relationship when you meet her." Judy was clearly a dominant personality. Both her piercing gaze and Michael's cowed posture made it clear their relationship was nothing like she had previously imagined. Isabelle chatted back and forth with Judy, and they quickly looked like old friends. Finally, Judy, still hugging Isabelle, pointed at Michael and declared, "Isabelle, I'm telling you, if this guy ever treats you badly, you tell me. If you complain to his mom, she'll at most scold him a bit. But if you complain to me, I'll beat the crap out of him." Michael grumbled, "I thought we were just having dinner. Why are you bringing all this up?" Judy seemed to realize she had said a bit too much. She raised her hand in the air and called out, "Waiter!" The waiter, who had been keeping a close eye on their table, hurried over. Judy took the menu, placed it in the center of the table, and said generously, "Come on, everyone order. Whatever you want. Michael's paying." Michael scoffed. "So generous. Anyone would think you were the one treating." "I have to save money lately, little sister," Judy shot back. "I'm starting my own business soon. Didn't Wyatt tell you?" "He did." "Then stop talking nonsense." Chloe nudged Wyatt's arm with her finger. Though she didn't speak, her meaning was clear. "How are you involved in this?" Wyatt explained with a smile. "Judy wants to open a beauty center, and I invested a little money. I guess you could say I'm one of her shareholders now." Chloe wanted to ask more. "Didn't you say she was a rich woman? Why would she need your investment?" But with so many people at the table, she was too embarrassed. "Wyatt, is this lovely girl your girlfriend?" "Yes. You're all so beautiful." "Are you all in the same dorm?" Isabelle replied, "We are." "Which university are you from?" Judy's curiosity grew. "The Riverwood Conservatory of Music." "An art school." "No wonder. Let me tell you," Wyatt joked. "You all better start sucking up to Judy now. When her beauty center opens, she'll give each of you a platinum membership card. You might even meet a lot of female celebrities at her place." "Really? Judy, you know people in the entertainment industry?" "Of course," Judy said happily. "I know a lot of actresses like." She rattled off the names of 7 or 8 A-list and B-list female stars. Apart from Chloe, who didn't follow celebrities and remained calm, Isabelle, Ashley, and Sophie immediately started chattering excitedly. Wyatt and Michael exchanged a look. Michael silently gave him a thumbs up, his eyes seeming to say, "Brother, when it comes to making women happy, you're the master." With a topic that interested all the girls, the dinner became very pleasant. Wyatt didn't interrupt, quietly enjoying the lavish meal. Noticing Chloe's lack of appetite, he whispered, "Why aren't you eating?" "I don't have much of an appetite," Chloe whispered back. The restaurant's dishes were all quite heavy. Wyatt scanned the table, then picked up a few pieces of green vegetables and placed them in Chloe's bowl. "Have some greens." Chloe pouted. "I don't eat the stems." Wyatt picked them up again, bit off the stems himself, and placed the leaves back in her bowl. Chloe, without any fuss, picked them up and ate them. Though everyone at the table was still chatting, they all witnessed this small, intimate exchange. Sophie nudged Leo, her eyes saying, "Look and learn." Leo looked down, embarrassed. Michael's eyes widened, his expression screaming, "My admiration for you is like a surging river, endless." And Judy also noticed Wyatt and Chloe, and for the first time, she felt a yearning for love. This couple is so cute together. The meal lasted for over an hour. As they were leaving, Judy still felt a sense of wanting more. She felt that being with these young people made her feel younger herself. So, as she left, she not only added them all on Messenger, but also said with a smile, "Let's do this again sometime." Michael smiled on the surface, but thought, "Like hell we will." Afterward, Wyatt first took Chloe back to her dorm to get her pajamas. On the way to the hotel, Chloe finally asked why Wyatt had invested in Judy's business. Wyatt gave her a brief explanation, adding, "What I'm really interested in isn't how much money her business can make, but the network behind her." This was something Wyatt would probably only ever tell Chloe. Chloe said, "Oh," and then looked down at her bag. After a moment of hesitation, while Wyatt was stopped at a red light, she reached out and tugged his sleeve. Wyatt turned to her. "What's wrong?" Chloe's voice was as soft as a whisper. We're out of those." Wyatt was confused. "Out of what?" Chloe's face instantly turned bright red, her eyes filled with shyness. "You know, those." Wyatt slapped his forehead, realization dawning. Below the Vibe building, a discreet Audi A6L was parked. Inside sat none other than Brandon, the man Wyatt had crossed paths with twice. After Wyatt had infuriated him at the Youth Investment Conference last weekend, Brandon had been nursing a grudge. In truth, Wyatt hadn't done much. It was Judy's deliberate closeness with Wyatt that had made Brandon jealous. But he couldn't possibly get angry at Judy, so he directed his resentment toward Wyatt. Brandon had always been petty. He might tolerate someone he couldn't afford to offend, like Michael Jiao, but with someone like Wyatt, he was determined to get his revenge. However, given Wyatt's proximity to Michael, a direct, open retaliation was out of the question. So this week, Brandon had been plotting a way to get back at Wyatt without anyone knowing. After much thought, he came up with what he considered a brilliant plan: steal his business. You're in investments, and so am I. While Crestview Capital might not be on the level of Apex Capital, it's certainly stronger than your C. Investments. From now on, any project you want to invest in, I'll snatch it away with a better offer. Let's see how long your company can last. To do this, however, he needed an inside man at C. Investments. And that's why he was here today. He didn't think it would be difficult. Money makes the world go round. Buying someone's loyalty should be simple enough. 5 o'clock. Quitting time. Rachel and Abby's apartment had a burnout light bulb. They had arranged with Sam at noon for him to come over after work to help them change it, and they'd all have dinner together afterward. Rachel checked the time, ready to find Abby and Sam to leave together. Just then, in the main office area, Frank glanced toward Wyatt's office and quickly got up and left. Rachel called Sam and Abby over, then walked to Irene's desk and whispered, "Irene, what's up? Could you do me a favor?" "Of course. We have to leave a little early today," Rachel said with a grin. "Since you always stay late, could you turn off the main power and lock the door when you leave?" "No problem." "Thanks so much." Rachel quickly pulled Abby away. Sam, having packed his things, followed them. The three of them entered the elevator, and Rachel pressed the button for the ground floor before stretching and saying, "That was fast. The week just flew by." "It really did." "Sam, what do you usually do on your days off?" "Read. Just read." "Pretty much." "Wow, impressive," Rachel said. "No wonder the boss has you working in the most important department, investments." Sam, embarrassed by the praise, said bashfully, "Honestly, I didn't know anything when I first started." Brandon had been waiting downstairs for over an hour. Seeing people finally start to emerge from the building, he got out of his car and began searching for his target. But person after person passed by, none of them employees of C. Investments. He was starting to get disappointed. Just then, Frank walked out of the office building, a bag slung over his shoulder. This week had been excruciating for him. The main reason was that David, who had joined the company at the same time as him, had been taken to New York by Carter, leaving Frank feeling like an abandoned pawn. He couldn't understand why, when he was superior to David in every way, Carter hadn't chosen him for the business trip. Was it Carter's decision or Wyatt's? The more he thought about it, the more resentful he became. For Rachel, the week had flown by. For Frank, each of the 5 days had been an eternity. As he was wondering where to get drunk tonight, Brandon strode toward him and asked with a friendly expression, "Excuse me, is C. Investments in this building?" "Yeah." Frank asked casually, "What about it?" As Frank spoke, Brandon spotted the company ID hanging from his neck. He immediately broke into a smile and extended his hand. "Hi, I'm Brandon, head of the 3rd Investment Division at Crestview Capital." Crestview Capital? After joining C. Investments, Frank had familiarized himself with the investment firms in the city, big and small. While Crestview wasn't a top-tier company, it was significantly larger than C. "Are you? Got time for a chat?" "Don't worry, I'll make it worth your while." Frank hesitated for only 2 seconds before nodding. "Okay." They walked toward the black Audi A6L. Just as they were about to get in, "Isn't that Frank?" Rachel pointed in their direction. "Yeah, who's that guy?" Rachel asked, puzzled. "I've never seen him before." Sam followed her gaze, and a memory of Wyatt and Chris playing poker in the dorm flashed through his mind. "Forget it, let's go," Sam said. "Let's head to the subway station. We still need to go to the grocery store." "That's right. Sam, I'm telling you, you're in for a treat today. Our cooking skills are top-notch." Sam watched the Audi drive away, then turned his attention back to his friends and smiled. "In that case, I'll definitely be having 2 bowls of rice tonight." "Huh?" In a corner of a coffee shop, Brandon, after asking a few questions and learning that Frank had only joined C. at the end of last year and wasn't highly regarded, got straight to the point. When Frank learned that Brandon wanted to recruit him as a mole, his first reaction wasn't shock, nervousness, or fear. It was elation. For Frank, being a traitor was better than being invisible at the company. In this world, everything was driven by self-interest. As long as it benefited him, nothing else mattered. "Of course," Brandon said with a smile. "I won't ask you to help me for free. I can give you a payment of $1,500 a month. Additionally, for every project your company is negotiating that you tell me about, I'll give you another $2,000 on top of the monthly payment. How does that sound?" Frank didn't say anything for a long time. Brandon thought he was holding out for more and was about to raise the offer. But Frank replied, "You have to pay me first." Brandon was stunned for a moment. Then a delighted smile spread across his face. He hadn't expected it to be this easy. $1,500 was less than what he'd spend on a single bottle of liquor at a club, yet it was enough to buy a man's loyalty. At that moment, Brandon felt like a genius. He transferred $1,500 to Frank. They exchanged contact information and plotted together for half an hour before Brandon left. After Brandon was gone, Frank looked at the recent transfer on his phone, and a smile crept onto his face. Didn't expect to make a little extra on the side, he murmured to himself with a small, bitter laugh. Saturday started cloudy but turned sunny. After lunch, Wyatt and Chloe went out shopping. Besides buying a few things for herself, Chloe also picked out 2 spring jackets for Wyatt. One of them was a casual jacket that came in a couple's set. After paying, she ordered Wyatt to put his on right there in the store, then changed into the matching one herself. The sales associate was very good at her job. Seeing Wyatt and Chloe in the matching jackets, she showered them with compliments and then thoughtfully asked, "Would you two like me to take a picture for you?" The lighting in high-end boutiques is always carefully designed. Photos taken inside looked much better than those taken outside. Chloe quickly handed her phone to the associate, then pulled Wyatt back a few steps and stood with her arm linked through his. "Move your heads a little closer." "Good, just like that." Click. The associate took the photo and handed the phone back to Chloe. After a quick "thank you," Chloe pulled Wyatt out of the store. She admired the photo on her phone as they walked, while Wyatt followed beside her, one hand loaded with shopping bags, the other holding hers to keep her from bumping into pillars or chairs. Chloe made a few simple adjustments to the photo's saturation and color, then posted it to her social media with 2 simple words, "Happy weekend." Most of Chloe's contacts, aside from her parents and Wyatt's relatives, were people she had met in college, all of whom Wyatt also knew. The post was seen by many almost immediately. Her roommates all liked it one by one. Her father, David, also at home for the weekend, saw the photo and promptly gave it a like. Elaine Young followed suit. Miranda not only liked it, but also commented with several thumbs-up emojis. Satisfied, Chloe put her phone back in her bag. As they passed an ice cream shop, she forcefully pulled Wyatt inside. "2 blueberry sundaes, please." "One is enough." Wyatt quickly interjected. "You're not having any?" Chloe asked. "I'll just have a waffle cone." "Okay." The clerk quickly took their order. Wyatt paid, and after a few minutes, they received their ice cream and a bag of freshly made waffle cones. Chloe would take a bite of her own ice cream, then a bite of the waffle cone in Wyatt's hand. "So good," she'd say, her eyes crinkling, her long lashes fluttering. She looked utterly content. "Dork, here, have a bite." Chloe scooped some ice cream with her spoon and held it to Wyatt's lips. He shook his head. "I don't like things that are too sweet." "Hurry up. Open your mouth." "Ah," she insisted, not giving up until Wyatt had eaten the spoonful. Only then did she happily continue eating. Without realizing it, their relationship had ascended to a new level. It was just a detail that Chloe hadn't consciously acknowledged. She never thought about how she had changed. She just found herself liking Wyatt more and more. But she thought that was normal. When 2 people are together, they're supposed to like each other more and more, right? The 2 days passed quickly. When Wyatt returned to the dorm on Sunday evening, only Sam was there. "Where are the other 2? "Chris left on Friday and hasn't been back, just like you," Sam replied. "Alex went to the Polytechnic Institute. Apparently, one of the vending machines was broken, and he checked the security footage to find the person and get them to pay for it." Since handing the vending machine business over to Alex, Wyatt hadn't interfered. The guy was doing a decent job. Sales were stable every month. Wyatt nodded, then went to wash his clothes from the past 2 days. After hanging them up to dry, he asked, "Sam, did you get your driver's license?" "Finished the test 2 weeks ago. You've been following Carter for a while now. How well have you learned his process?" If I put you in charge of a project right now, could you handle it?" Sam didn't say yes or no. He just answered honestly, "I can try." "Good," Wyatt nodded. "Then at the company meeting tomorrow, I'll bring it up with Carter. From now on, you'll be responsible for projects under $2 million. You'll definitely have questions at first, so just ask Carter for help." "Okay." Though he felt a little apprehensive, Sam still agreed. He knew Wyatt was giving him a chance to grow. This trust moved him deeply. Riverwood, Vivian's company. The head of the design department, Heather, walked into the office, holding her laptop, and approached Vivian. "Vivian, the new designs for the lingerie line are out. Would you like to take a look?" "Yes." Vivian put down her work and nodded. "Sit next to me." Heather sat down, opened her laptop, and began showing Vivian the designs her department had just finished. "This is the sailor uniform. We made it in 3 different colors. This OL-style uniform has a semi-sheer blouse. This is the maid outfit, also one of the most requested items by online customers. Each design was incredibly sexy, incredibly. Wow. But everyone in the company was used to it by now. No one felt embarrassed anymore. After reviewing them, Vivian nodded. They look good. How about this? Package these designs and send them to Wyatt. Let him take a look. Is that necessary? Of course, Vivian said with a smile. He's the one who approved all of our current lingerie styles. He may not understand design, but he understands men, and he also understands women. Okay, I'll send them to him right away. Heather returned to her desk, found Wyatt in the company group chat, and they started a private conversation. After Wyatt learned the purpose of her message, he readily agreed. Sure, send them over now. I'll take a look. Heather quickly sent the files to Wyatt. In his dorm room, Wyatt opened the images and began to look through them one by one. From a man's perspective, he offered Heather some constructive suggestions. For example, he thought the sailor uniform design was good, but it looked too much like regular clothes. He suggested leaving the front as is, but making the back a cutout. Seeing Wyatt's suggestion, Heather had only one thought. Wyatt is such a pervert. After chatting with Heather, Wyatt lay on his bed and started texting Chloe. Wyatt, you bought me 2 jackets last weekend. Can I buy you a couple of outfits soon? Chloe, I have enough clothes. Chloe, besides, do you even know my size? Wyatt, it's fine. The clothes I'm buying are one size fits all. Chloe, what kind of clothes? Wyatt, image. Wyatt forwarded the pictures Heather had sent him to Chloe. Several minutes passed. Wyatt, why aren't you saying anything? Wyatt, hello. Chloe, you just wait. I'm calling your mom right now. Wyatt. The first 3 months of the year passed in a blur. April 1st was April Fool's Day, which fell on a Friday, and with April 4th being a holiday, it meant a 3-day weekend. At the office, Carter and David had returned from their investigation, and a second round of investment for the bike-sharing project was now on the agenda. For Sam's new role, Wyatt had announced during a meeting that from now on, he would be responsible for smaller projects under $2 million. Meanwhile, after receiving the investment fund from Wyatt, Judy had pulled him into a messenger group named Aesthetica Center Main Group. Besides Judy, there were several other women in the group, likely the renowned beauty team she had mentioned. Leo, off for the holiday, took the subway straight to the train station. His grandfather's birthday was on the 2nd, and the family was having a celebration. As the eldest grandson, he naturally had to be there. Over his 3-day break, Wyatt spent the first day taking Chloe to visit Elaine Young, and in the afternoon, he took Elaine to the hospital for a checkup. The other 2 days, due to the rain, they didn't go anywhere. They either rested at the hotel or hung out with their roommates in their dorm. The long weekend passed in a flash. The first half of April was uneventful. It wasn't until the 19th of the month that the investment department received 2 projects at once. The first came from a student entrepreneurial team from the local university who had heard about the student startup support program. They wanted to create a pet-related app called Paw Print for booking vet appointments, buying pet supplies, and online community discussions. Carter thought the project had great potential and contacted them immediately. The other project came through an inquiry on their official website. The owner of a Chinese-style burger joint, whose business was booming, wanted to turn his shop into a franchise brand. However, he lacked both the capital and the knowledge of how to operate such a model, so he had reached out for consultation. The owner had first inquired at the end of March, and Sam had been in talks with him for the past 2 weeks. It was only in the middle of the month that the owner agreed to let Sam come for an on-site inspection. Worried that going alone might seem unprofessional, Sam asked Greg Peters to join him. Wyatt had decided last year that he wouldn't directly interfere with the investment department's affairs in the first half of this year. This would test their investment acumen and also give them a chance to hone their business skills. After all, people you cultivate yourself are far more valuable than those you simply hire. After his trip to New York with Carter, David had started taking on the tasks that Sam used to handle, as Sam was now busy with his own projects. Carter now delegated all of Sam's previous responsibilities to David. This left Frank as the only person in the investment department with nothing to do. Wyatt had expected Frank to come talk to him about it. He had even prepared what he would say. But Frank acted as if nothing was wrong, sitting at his desk every day, doing who knows what. This puzzled Wyatt. Evening. Inside a Starbucks at the Golden Bridge Mall, Brandon was idly scrolling through his phone, occasionally glancing at the time in the top right corner. It wasn't until after dark that Frank, who had arranged to meet him at noon, finally arrived. What took you so long? Brandon asked, frowning. Frank sat down across from him and explained, Wyatt left late. I usually leave after him, and I was afraid he'd get suspicious if I left too early. So, what projects has your company taken on? Frank didn't answer right away. He raised his hand to order a coffee from the waiter, then said, I need to add another condition to our previous agreement. A cold glint flashed in Brandon's eyes. He asked patiently, what do you want? Once they find out what I've been doing, I'll definitely be fired from C. Investments. If word gets out, no company in this industry will hire me. So if that day comes, I want to join Crestview Capital. Brandon was taken aback for a moment. Then a cold smile formed on his lips. He nodded readily. No problem. Can you make that decision? Of course. The chairman of Crestview Capital is my father. A small matter like this is well within my power to decide. This was news to Frank. Hearing it, he looked visibly excited. He had never imagined he would be able to connect with a rich kid of this caliber. Only then did Frank smile. Our company has taken on 2 projects this month. One internet project and 1 physical business. The physical business is just something Wyatt is letting his roommate practice on. No real investment value. The internet project, however, our department head is very optimistic about. There's a high probability we'll close the deal. What's the project? It's a pet-related platform. You can book vet appointments, buy pet supplies, and users can exchange experiences on it. The project is called Paw Print. Brandon's eyes lit up, and he quickly asked, where is the startup team from? A group of graduates from the university. I heard they're all PhDs and master's students. Hearing they were local, Brandon pressed, give me their lead's contact information. Well, you haven't gotten it yet. My colleague who assists the department head sits right next to me, Frank said with a smirk. I've already copied the project proposal. It has all the information. Then send it to me quickly. Mr. Zheng, about the condition I just mentioned, could we sign an agreement first? Even though you've already agreed, it was just verbal. What if? I'm a timid person. I hope you can understand. Brandon was so angry he wanted to curse, but he managed to hold it in. Fine. Tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll be waiting. No problem. I'll be on time. I hope you won't be bringing any new conditions tomorrow, Brandon said coldly. I don't like working with greedy people, of course. Watching Brandon leave the Starbucks, Frank took a sip of his coffee. He suddenly felt like his hard days were finally coming to an end. Meanwhile, Sam and Greg had already met with Walter, the owner of the Chinese-style burger joint. Seeing the packed restaurant, Sam asked curiously, Boss, is your shop this busy every day? This is actually a slow day. It's even crazier on weekends. I'm so busy, I can't even handle delivery orders. How many shops do you have now? Just 2 for now. My wife's sister manages the other one, and she's just as busy every day. The burgers we make look similar to KFC and McDonald's, but they taste completely different. Here, try one. Walter went and got 2 burgers, handing them to Sam and Greg. After tasting them, Greg pointed to the sign and laughed. Boss, why did you pick such a strange name? All the good names I thought were already registered, so I just randomly filled one in. Above the small, roughly 300-square-foot shop hung a modest sign. On the right side of the sign were the words, Chinese-style burger, and on the left was the name of the shop, Toasties. After his inspection, Sam wanted to get franchise operation plans from Carter, but Carter didn't have any such materials. With no other choice, Sam went to Wyatt. He knew Wyatt didn't have them either, but he also knew Wyatt knew a lot of people. Wyatt quickly called Michael. With his family's vast business empire, Michael had tons of that kind of information. He sent Wyatt a 2 gigabytes compressed file and then started complaining about how Isabelle had been moody lately, ignoring him for no reason, and asked Wyatt for advice. Women, Wyatt could only counsel. It's normal for them to get upset sometimes. I text her, I call her, she ignores me. Then just go see her. She won't come down from her dorm. I can't even get to see her. Her dorm is on the 2nd floor, Wyatt said with a laugh. Just stand downstairs and yell her name. Isn't that shameless? Well, I've done it, and it's very effective. Michael gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll try it. Wyatt forwarded the files to Sam, who immediately started studying them. As Wyatt got up to close the door, he glanced at Sam's laptop screen and casually asked, Do you think that shop has investment potential? Yes. Sam nodded firmly. Greg and I staked it out for 2 days. The first day, business was fantastic. I was afraid the owner had hired people to fill the place, so we stayed an extra day. The second day, it was just as busy. I watched their preparation process. It's not hard to learn. If we can create a solid franchise system and management structure, the growth potential is huge. Wyatt smiled, not taking it too seriously, but he asked one more question. What's the name of the shop? Toasties. What did you say? Toasties, Sam repeated. Toasties. Is there a problem? Wyatt quickly waved his hand. No problem. If you think it's a good investment, then go for it. You have full authority over this project, even if the amount exceeds $2 million. Okay. After work, Michael drove to the music conservatory. This love-struck fool now spent more than half his day thinking about Isabelle. Isabelle, for her part, had developed her own method for handling him. She would occasionally give him a taste of sweetness, then throw a little tantrum, keeping Michael hooked and desperate for more. Arriving at the dorm, Michael, just like the day before, first texted Isabelle. When she didn't reply, he called, and, after being sent to voicemail, he finally got out of the car. He paced nervously for a long time before finally mustering the courage to shout up at the building. Isabelle! Isabelle! Ashley, with her sharp ears, heard him first. Isabelle, she said, your man is calling for you. Isabelle wasn't like Chloe, who would get terribly embarrassed every time Wyatt shouted her name in front of a crowd. Isabelle listened calmly for a while, only deciding to grab her bag and head downstairs when Michael's voice grew louder. What are you shouting for? Isabelle shot him an annoyed look, then pulled open the car door and slid into the passenger seat. Seeing Michael still standing there dumbfounded, she stuck her head out the window and yelled, Are you crazy? What are you still standing there for? Get in the car. Michael instantly beamed and obediently got in. Isabelle reached over and pinched his ear. Well, Michael, you've gotten bold, haven't you? Daring to shout my name in front of the girls' dorm. It's because you wouldn't answer my texts or calls. Isabelle immediately tightened her grip. Michael feigned intense pain, whining. What did I do to make you unhappy? Just tell me. When you don't reply to my messages, I can't even focus at work. First, tell me, was it Wyatt who told you to shout my name downstairs? How did you know? He taught Leo the same trick before. I was wondering why it worked so well. Hey, I was wrong. Let's go eat first. Let's go eat, Michael said, all smiles. What do you want to eat? Whatever. Hot pot. No. Stir fry. Had it yesterday. Spicy ramen. Too spicy. Then what do you want to eat? Whatever. Defeated, Michael secretly pulled out his phone, preparing to ask Wyatt what to do in this situation. Isabelle glanced at him and called him out. Going to your strategist again? Are we? If you're going to ask, do it openly. Just call Wyatt directly. Hurry up. Michael, surprisingly obedient, dialed Wyatt's number. Wyatt, what now? Michael, Wyatt, spit it out. Michael, so, I'm with her now, and we're going to eat, but when I ask her what she wants, she just says whatever. Michael explained the situation, then subconsciously glanced at Isabelle before asking, What do I do now? Wyatt was speechless. Am I an encyclopedia? He thought. Why does he have to ask me about this stuff? Do you have her mom's number? Yes. Just call her mom, repeat everything you just told me, and then ask her mom what you should go eat tonight. Isabelle, listening in, couldn't sit still any longer. Michael, if you dare do that, you are dead. Hearing Isabelle's voice, Wyatt was stunned for a moment, then immediately said, She's right there, and you're calling me? Are you too insane? Are you messing with me? Michael quickly hung up. So, what are we eating tonight? Ramen. You could have just said so earlier. You, fasten your seatbelt. We're leaving. On Friday afternoon, as soon as Wyatt arrived at the music conservatory, Isabelle cornered him. Wyatt, what are you teaching him? Of all things, you teach him to tattle to my mom? If he learns that trick, how am I supposed to handle him anymore? Wyatt rolled his eyes. Who told you to be so dramatic? Michael calls me every other day. I'm starting to think, is dating you really this difficult? I'm warning you. If you keep this up, I'm going to teach Chloe how to deal with you. Wyatt said dismissively. Go ahead and ask her. Who does she listen to now? You or me? Isabelle immediately turned to Chloe. Chloe looked down guiltily. After a long pause, Isabelle finally uttered her classic line. You damn player. Michael had been summoned by his uncle to discuss work matters that evening, and Leo wasn't coming over either, so Wyatt generously treated the 3 girls from her dorm to dinner. With Michael absent, Isabelle's true nature came out at the dinner table. She held forth on the topic of men, declaring, men have 3 basic instincts: lust, greed, and bragging. Ashley and Sophie listened intently as Isabelle analyzed, nodding in agreement from time to time. Seeing Wyatt's lack of reaction, Isabelle called on him directly. Wyatt, am I right or am I right? Right, my ass, Wyatt retorted eloquently. Lust is for family, greed is for career, and bragging is for ambition. Don't make men sound so worthless. Chloe, am I right? Chloe nodded. Exactly. After dinner, Wyatt dropped the 3 girls off at their dorm, while Chloe, naturally, remained in the passenger seat. As soon as they entered the dorm, Isabelle shook her head and lamented. Being love-struck is truly terrifying. Are you talking about Chloe? Who else? Look at her now. From Monday to Friday, she's constantly zoning out and daydreaming. The moment the weekend comes and Wyatt shows up, her eyes just light up. She was even holding his hand during dinner. I couldn't even watch. They've been together for a long time, Sophie said, unfazed. I think it's perfectly normal. You say Chloe is love-struck, but I think Michael is the one who's love-struck. Why at least only comes over on weekends. Your Michael comes looking for you on weekdays, too. That's because I've trained him well, Isabelle said smugly. Yes, you're so amazing. Hey, Sophie, I've noticed you've changed a lot, too. You're much more talkative now. Sophie laughed. Sharing a dorm with a psycho like you. How could I not change? I don't think it has anything to do with me, Isabelle teased. It must be because of Leo. Shut up. Have you two kissed yet? No, I don't believe you. Let me check. How are you going to check? I'll just kiss you and find out. Get away from me. Don't run, little darling. You're insane. Blah, blah, blah. Ashley watched the two of them wrestling and rolled her eyes. You two are seriously nuts. Back at the hotel, Wyatt first took a call from Carter. He said they were meeting with the Paw Print project team tomorrow morning and asked if Wyatt wanted to join. Adhering to the principle of trusting the people he chose to work with, Wyatt replied, You handle this project. You have my full support. With Wyatt's blessing, Carter had nothing more to say. By now, he was feeling quite fortunate to have joined Investments. If he had stayed at his old company, he would most likely still be a low-level grunt in the investment department. But here he was in charge. Most importantly, his boss trusted him completely. This was what moved Carter the most. The company was growing, and as a founding member, he was eager to achieve something significant. After all, the previous successful project had all been decided by Wyatt. Take the investment in the last Ember, for instance. Although he had brought the project in, if it hadn't been for Wyatt's insistence, he certainly wouldn't have made the decision so quickly, nor would he have invested so much. They chatted for a few minutes. By the time they hung up, Chloe was already in the bathroom. Wyatt sat on the bed, listening to the sound of the shower, his heart itching. He got up, walked to the door, and knocked. Are you done yet? Almost. To save time and water, why don't you open the door and we can shower together? Go away. Heads, go away, not get lost. Looks like there's a chance. Wyatt tried the doorknob, but it was locked from the inside. Chloe, he saw the handle jiggle. The next second, get lost. Wyatt quickly backed away. 5 minutes later, Chloe emerged from the bathroom. The reason she had been in there so long was that she had also washed her hair. Seeing her dripping hair, Wyatt eagerly grabbed the hairdryer to play the attentive boyfriend. As Wyatt was blow-drying her hair, Chloe remembered something. Dork, I need to tell you something. What is it? Next weekend is Memorial Day, and that's my mom's birthday. Huh? Wyatt asked. Why are you only telling me now? It's still early. It's not too late to tell you now, Chloe said with a pout. I haven't decided if I want to go celebrate with her. Of course you should. But my mom has never celebrated her birthday before. That's because you were being thoughtless, Wyatt said with a smile. It's different now. If we don't do anything, then I'm the one being thoughtless. Chloe turned her head, her big eyes blinking. So we're going to Philadelphia? Yep. Let me see if there are any tickets. Wyatt pulled out his phone and opened the Amtrak app. Since the 3-day weekend wasn't a huge travel holiday yet, there weren't too many people heading home or on vacation. Although the coach seats were sold out, there were still about 10 business class seats left. Wyatt quickly booked 2 tickets to Philadelphia for the 29th. Did you get them? Yep, all set. Okay, don't tell my mom. We can give her a surprise. Wyatt smiled and agreed. After drying Chloe's hair, Wyatt took a shower. When he came out, Chloe was already lying in bed. He checked the door lock, turned off the main lights, and then slipped under the covers. Chloe immediately snuggled up to him, wrapping her arms tightly around his waist. She was growing more and more fond of these close hugs, where she could clearly feel his body heat. Noticing Wyatt hadn't hugged her back, she unhappily scratched his back with her fingers and said in a coquettish tone, Hug me. Wyatt turned on his side and held her. Tighter. He pulled the covers up, wrapped his arm around her, and draped one leg over hers. On the king-size bed, they occupied only a narrow space. The next day, as usual, they went to Elaine Yang's house. Wyatt also made a video call to Vivian to ask about the company's recent situation. Vivian had become savvier now. Seeing Elaine beside him, she laid out all the recent problems she had encountered. For administrative issues, Wyatt offered solutions. For design and production issues, Elaine provided her expertise. By the end of the video call, Vivian had a full page of notes. Many seemingly insurmountable problems now had clear paths forward. After hanging up, Vivian felt it was necessary to tell Wyatt that they should have these video calls more regularly. That night, they stayed up late watching the 169-minute-long Interstellar, so naturally, they slept in the next morning. By the time they woke up, the sun was high in the sky. Wyatt stretched and patted Chloe's butt through the covers. Wake up, sleepyhead, he said with a laugh. The sun is out today. Chloe sat up, her hair a mess. She covered a yawn with her hand, glanced at the sunlight streaming through the gap in the curtains, and then sleepily leaned her head on Wyatt's shoulder. Wyatt fastened the top button of her pajamas. As he was about to get up, Chloe grabbed his arm. "What's wrong?" "It's the weekend. Can't bear to see me go." Wyatt didn't drive back to campus until after 5 in the evening. That same night, he told Miranda that he and Chloe would be coming to Philadelphia for Memorial Day weekend. He knew that for parents, a surprise visit brought a fleeting moment of joy. But if he told them a week in advance, they'd be happy for a week. Tell them a month in advance, and they'd be happy for a month. Of course, Wyatt also mentioned Chloe's plan for a surprise. Miranda, being the sharp woman she was, immediately agreed over the phone to play along, telling Wyatt not to let Chloe in on their secret. The new week was much busier than usual at the office, especially in the investment department. Carter and Travis Tang, along with their team, began round after round of negotiations with the paw print team. Each round brought progress, and the deal moved steadily forward. Sam wasn't idle either. After receiving the franchising materials last week, he had written a 4,000-word business plan based on Toasty's actual situation, including franchise rules, operational methods, and profit models. When he sent the file to Walter, the burger joint owner, what had started as a whim for Walter now became a serious consideration. Sam calculated that the cost of opening a branch wouldn't exceed $20,000. With $2 million, they could easily pilot the concept in a single city, opening branches in different locations. If every store did well, they could then rapidly expand and capture the market, just like KFC and McDonald's. With this in mind, Sam poured all his time and energy into the project, making numerous calls to Walter every day. Wyatt, ironically, became the most idle person in the company. He spent the week thinking about Miranda's birthday and what gift to get her. He'd already bought her jewelry, which she always wore despite it not being expensive. Cosmetics and bags didn't seem appropriate for an elder. He considered a pricey silk scarf, but Chloe said she already had plenty. "Then what should I get her?" Wyatt asked. "Don't ask me, I don't know," Chloe replied quickly. "How about we give her grandson?" he teased. Chloe's face broke into a happy smile as she typed out the fiercest response. "Are you looking for a fight?" After much thought, Wyatt decided to buy something practical. He drove to the mall and first bought a box of high-end La Mer skincare, said to have rejuvenating properties, and then a Theragun for her neck and shoulders. With the gifts prepared early, all that was left was to wait for the holiday weekend. On Thursday afternoon, Carter returned from the 4th round of negotiations with the paw print team and went straight to Wyatt's office to report. "We've basically settled everything," Carter said with a smile. "Just a few details left to iron out. If all goes well, we can sign the contract after the Memorial Day holiday." From receiving the project to today, it had only been about 2 weeks. Such efficiency was impressive. Wyatt nodded. "Good. Have Travis prepare the contract. If you need anyone's cooperation, just let them know." "There's one more thing," Carter added. "Since Sam is now handling his own projects, maybe we should have David work under me. Frank and David joined the company together. If we move David under you, I'm worried Frank will have a hard time accepting it. After the holiday, I'll talk to Frank and ask if he's willing to work with Sam. I doubt he'll be happy about it, even if he says he is," Carter said. "After all, he's older than Sam. There's nothing to be done about that. I can't bend over backward for his feelings." "Okay, then that's the plan. By the way, you'll definitely need to be there for the final contract signing with Paw Print." Wyatt smiled and nodded. "Of course." That night, in a Starbucks, Frank had been waiting for half an hour when Brandon finally arrived. As soon as Brandon sat down, Frank demanded, "Didn't you say you were going to snatch this project? Do you have any idea they're about to close the deal? Why are you more anxious than I am?" Brandon asked, amused. Frank took a breath. "I'm not anxious. I just don't understand what you're doing. I asked you here today to remind you that they're almost done negotiating. If nothing unexpected happens, they'll sign the contract right after Memorial Day." "Good, I know. You're not going to steal it." "Steal it? Of course, I'm going to steal it." A cold smile played on Brandon's lips. "But snatching it too early would be no fun. I'm going to wait until right before they sign the contract to take it. That way, all their previous effort will be for nothing. I want them to know what it feels like to have it all slip through their fingers." Frank was stunned. He hadn't realized Brandon had been waiting all this time for this very reason. If he had stolen the project at the beginning, it wouldn't have been a huge loss for C. Investments. But to snatch it away just before the contract was signed would mean that all the hard work and energy Carter and his team had poured into it would be completely wasted. This man is ruthless. "Have the numbers I gave you before change?" "No." "Good. For the same equity, your company is offering $3.5 million. And I'll offer 4 million. I refuse to believe they won't change their minds. I'll have my people contact the paw print team in the next few days. To be safe, let's not meet again until this project is over. Then, Frank wanted to bring up his payment, but for some reason, he felt hesitant. Brandon, however, seemed to see right through him. Don't worry, you'll get the money I promised you. Sometimes I tip more than that. Frank didn't feel any happier hearing this. Brandon didn't want to chat any longer. Having gotten the information he wanted, he quickly got up and left. Frank sat in his chair, feeling dazed. He wasn't regretting betraying Wyatt or the company. He was wondering if a man as ruthless as Brandon would discard him after he'd served his purpose. The agreement they had signed beforehand probably wasn't even legally binding. He couldn't find an answer. Shaking his head, he forced himself to stop thinking about it. What was done was done. There was no turning back. On the afternoon of the 29th, Wyatt drove Chris to the music conservatory. After picking up Chloe, he handed the driver's seat over to Chris. Upon reaching the station, Chris turned the car around and headed back, while Wyatt and Chloe went through security and into the waiting hall. The high-speed train from New York's Penn Station to Philadelphia's 30th Street Station took an hour and a half at the fastest. They boarded the train around 3:30 p.m. and arrived at 5:15 p.m. Which hotel is your mom at again? The Hilton. Sir, we're going to the Hilton, and please hurry. Wait, Chloe quickly said. We have to pick up the cake we ordered online first. Wyatt slapped his thigh. I almost forgot. Sir, we need to go to the Patisserie Poupon in the mall first. You got it. By the time they picked up the cake and arrived at the Hilton, it was already dark. Chloe had gotten her mom's room number from her dad, Charles, beforehand. Miranda always stayed in a hotel when she was working in Philadelphia. Renting an apartment with similar amenities in the Central Business District would have been much more expensive, and Miranda hated being disturbed by noise from upstairs or downstairs. She preferred the long-term hotel stay over buying a place in the city. Wyatt held the cake while Chloe double-checked the room number on her phone. They took the elevator up and stood outside Miranda's room, whispering, Let's light the candles first. How many should we put? She's 46, so let's just do 6. Do you have a lighter? Yeah. The bakery gave us one. Hold it steady. I know. Are you carrying it or am I? You do it. Okay, you can ring the doorbell. As soon as she opens it, we start singing Happy Birthday. Oh, Chloe pressed the doorbell, then deliberately moved away from the peephole. Ding dong. A sudden chime echoed in the room. Miranda glanced at the time, figured it must be Wyatt and Chloe, and after composing herself, walked to the door and opened it. The first thing she saw wasn't a cake with lit candles, but 2 small faces that still looked endearingly young to her. She was about to smile, but remembered this wasn't the reaction she was supposed to have. So, she shifted her gaze to the cake. At the same time, Wyatt and Chloe began to sing in unison. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Listening to their song, watching the flickering candlelight, Miranda, who was known as a corporate iron lady, felt tears welling up in her eyes. She dabbed at the corners, then led her daughter and her not-yet-official son-in-law into the room, asking with feigned surprise, What are you two doing here? Her tone was a mix of 5 parts confusion, 3 parts surprise, and 2 parts choked-up emotion. For a moment, Wyatt couldn't tell if his mother-in-law was acting or if it was a genuine reaction. Wyatt placed the cake on the coffee table. Chloe linked her arm through Miranda's and explained, Mom, I told Wyatt it was your birthday today, and since we have a Memorial Day weekend off, he brought me over. By saying this, Chloe effectively gave all the credit for the surprise to Wyatt. He didn't correct her. He had already called Miranda and explained everything beforehand. At that moment, their eyes met, and an unspoken understanding passed between them. Only Chloe remained blissfully unaware. It seemed to be the first time she had ever surprised Miranda like this, and she was even more excited than her mother. She pulled Miranda to sit on the sofa and impatiently ordered Wyatt to turn off the lights. The large hotel room was plunged into darkness, illuminated only by the flickering candlelight. Miranda solemnly clasped her hands together and made a wish. May my family be safe and sound, and love each other dearly. May my precious daughter and Wyatt be together for a long, long time, their hearts as one. They blew out the candles and cut the cake. The usually quiet evening became lively. Chloe was very talkative tonight, chattering endlessly about things that had nothing to do with her, but Miranda didn't find it tiresome at all, listening with a doting expression. Wyatt sat beside them, quiet, only chiming in with a supportive word when Chloe needed a response. Time slipped by. Amidst the peaceful atmosphere, ding-dong, the doorbell rang again. All 3 of them were startled. Finally, Miranda got up, walked to the door, and opened it. There stood Charles, a joyful expression on his face, also holding a cake. He had rushed over to Philadelphia as soon as he got off work, but the distance meant he had only just arrived. He was about to say, "Miranda, happy birthday," when he saw Wyatt and Chloe on the sofa and the half-eaten cake on the coffee table. He froze. After a long pause, he walked in and asked with wide eyes, "What are you two doing here?" Chloe and Wyatt couldn't hold it in any longer and burst out laughing. Seeing them laugh, Miranda started laughing too. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming?" Charles grumbled. "Now who's going to eat this cake?" "Well, I'm already full," Chloe said with a giggle. "It was Chloe who wanted to give you a surprise," and Miranda, Wyatt explained. "So we didn't tell anyone we were coming to Philadelphia." Charles was just grumbling for show. He was actually very happy to have the whole family together in Philadelphia. While they were talking, Miranda used the room's landline to call the front desk. About 20 minutes later, a hotel staff member came to the door, knocked, and handed Miranda 2 key cards. "Ms. Jiang, here are the 2 rooms you requested." "Thank you." Miranda handed her the cake Charles had brought. "We bought one too many. This is for you." "Really? Thank you so much. Please let me know if you need anything else." "Will do." The staff member left happily with the cake. Miranda, holding the key cards, glanced at the clock on the wall and said to the 3 on the sofa, "It's getting late, and we've had our cake. You should all get some rest." As she spoke, Miranda handed a key card to Charles and one to Wyatt. They had labels on them. One room was on the floor below, the other was across the hall on the same floor. Charles didn't mind. It was just a quick trip up or down the stairs. He took his key card and went downstairs. Wyatt didn't leave immediately. He packed up the leftover cake. The temperature difference between day and night was significant, so the cake would be fine overnight and could serve as breakfast. "Aunt Miranda, I'll head back to my room then." "Okay." Wyatt picked up his shoulder bag and started to leave. Miranda glanced at Chloe and noticed her daughter was also watching Wyatt's back. She said nonchalantly, "Chloe, you go too?" Chloe looked up at her mother, puzzled. Wyatt also stopped in his tracks. Miranda patted Chloe's head with a gentle smile. "Go on. I'll have breakfast sent over at 8 tomorrow. You can come eat in my room." It was only then that Chloe realized that many of the things she thought were secrets, her mother had known all along. She looked down, shyly got up, and followed Wyatt out of the room. Late that night, Miranda received 2 messages from Charles. "Charles, is it crowded with you and Chloe sleeping together?" "Charles, if it is, I can share a room with the kid tomorrow and let Chloe have the king-size bed." Miranda quickly replied, "No need. You sleep in your own room." "Charles, okay. What do you think your mom was thinking?" Wyatt asked. "I have no idea. Listen, whatever you do, don't tell your dad about this tomorrow. He'll kill me. As long as you don't say anything, you'll be fine." After 3 or 4 hours in the car that afternoon, Wyatt was exhausted. He yawned, stretched an arm out from under the covers to switch off the bedside lamp, then pulled it back in, wrapping it around Cece. They both drifted off to sleep. That night, Miranda, Charles, Wyatt, and Cece all slept soundly. Perhaps because of the high-quality sleep, Wyatt and Cece woke up early the next morning. They got out of bed together, brushed their teeth together. As Cece was putting on her makeup, she asked, "Should I change?" Wyatt replied, "If we're not going out this morning, let's not bother. We can always change later if we do." "Okay. Are you done yet?" "It's almost 8. Done. Cece stood up, and she and Wyatt walked out of the room hand in hand. Just as they opened the door, Charles happened to step out of the elevator. 3 people, 6 eyes locked in a stare. Charles's brain short-circuited. You couldn't blame him. Even Wyatt had assumed Miranda's plan was for him to share a room with his father-in-law, while she and Cece shared another. He hadn't expected his mother-in-law to be so considerate. Charles stared at the 2 of them, dressed in matching couple's pajamas, and his head started to buzz. The most pressing question imaginable popped into his mind. Did they sleep together last night? No, it can't be, he told himself. She must have just gone over to wake him up. Miranda wouldn't do this. After a moment of self-reassurance, Charles knocked on Miranda's door. Wyatt and Cece exchanged a guilty glance and followed him inside. Charles was smarter this time. He didn't ask directly. Instead, using the excuse of needing the restroom, he went into the bathroom first. If there were 2 sets of toiletries, it would confirm his fears. If there was only one, he walked over to the bathroom counter, his eyes fixated on the toiletries. His heart shattered. Only 1 set, which meant that last night. This was a travesty. Knock, knock, knock. Miranda knocked on the door from the outside. "Charles, what are you doing in there?" He emerged, looking utterly lost. Miranda sensed something was wrong, but offered no explanation. As a result, the atmosphere at breakfast was painfully awkward. Charles was too angry to speak. Miranda didn't want to speak, and Wyatt and Cece didn't dare to speak. After they finished, Miranda got up to throw away some trash. Cece used the excuse of getting her phone from the room to escape. Just as Wyatt was about to follow her, Charles finally stopped him. Wyatt braced himself for a tirade, but instead, Charles just said in a heavy voice, "Wyatt, don't you dare hurt my daughter." His tone wasn't harsh at all. It was laced with a hint of pleading. Wyatt was taken aback for a second before replying with equal gravity, "I would never." Cece knew her dad had kept Wyatt behind. The moment he returned, she immediately asked, "What did my dad say to you?" "Nothing much." Cece grabbed Wyatt's ear, her voice fierce. "Spill it." The truth. Wyatt had no choice but to dutifully repeat what his father-in-law had said. After hearing it, Cece thought for a moment, then asked, "So what did you say?" "What else could I say? I told him I never would." Cece let go of his ear and asked quietly, "So, when are you planning to marry me?" "We'll get our marriage license the day after graduation." "Really? Really? That's more like it." While Wyatt and Cece were whispering sweet nothings, Charles and Miranda were having a talk of their own. Charles got straight to the point. When did they first sleep together? Before New Year's. Maybe even earlier. Charles was bewildered. "Why didn't you tell me? You couldn't see it for yourself, and now you're blaming me?" "How did you see it?" "The way your daughter is when she's with Wyatt. Before, he was always the one taking the lead. Now she is. Besides that, there were a lot of little details." Charles was silent for a long time before suddenly saying, "Then we need to find a time to meet his parents this year." Miranda nodded. "I was thinking the same thing." Another short silence fell between them. Charles changed the subject. "Before that happens, do you think maybe we could get remarried?" "We agreed on a 1-year trial period. You haven't passed my evaluation yet." Still upset about Wyatt and Cece, Charles grumbled, "Can't I get off probation early?" Miranda held back a laugh. "It will only be extended, never shortened. You're being completely unreasonable." Huh. Around noon, Miranda sent Wyatt a text, telling him they would all go out to eat in 15 minutes. Wyatt and Cece quickly changed out of their pajamas, and the family of four soon departed from the hotel, looking neat and tidy. It was Memorial Day weekend, and companies and schools were on break. The streets were bustling with people and traffic. Fortunately, a large shopping mall was right next door, so they could just walk over. The four of them found a nice local Philly restaurant and sat down at table. "Wyatt, you order." Wyatt took the menu and laid it in the middle of the table. Cece immediately leaned in, and the two of them started picking out dishes together. Miranda turned and shot Charles a look, as if to say, "Look at your daughter." Charles remembered then. Whenever he used to take Cece out to eat, she never ordered. If he asked what she wanted, her answer was always whatever. But now, will this be too spicy? Definitely. Can't you see the 5 chili peppers next to it? Then let's get this. Okay, I want this one too. After they ordered 6 dishes, Wyatt handed the menu back to the server. Charles took the initiative to ask about Wyatt's company, and Wyatt gave him a brief update. Just as the food was about to arrive, Wyatt got up to go to the restroom. Unexpectedly, his mother, Sarah, called him right then, asking what his plans were for the holiday weekend. Wyatt quickly replied, "I'm having lunch with Cece's parents." "Mom, do you want to have a video call with them in a bit?" Sarah was puzzled. "Why are you only thinking of this now?" Wyatt had to be honest. "We're living together now. You guys should have a video call first, and then I'll arrange for you to meet in person during the summer or at the end of the year." Sarah wasn't surprised at all. She had long expected this day would come. "Okay, let me go change my clothes," she said. "No rush, Mom. Call in about 20 minutes. Just pretend it's a coincidence. Don't make it too obvious." "Got it." After hanging up, Sarah put down her phone and dragged David to go change. Even though it was just a video call, the couple took it very seriously. This wasn't just about showing respect for Cece's parents. It was also a way of showing how much they valued Cece. "Honey, which jacket should I wear?" "Just wear that business casual one you wear to work. You're making me a little nervous." "Can you have some backbone? Your son has such thick skin. He probably gets that from you." "I've always been a man who values his dignity." "David, I'm not going to hit you right now, but you'd better talk less later. You shouldn't talk too much either." "Shut up." When Wyatt returned to the table, the four of them chatted as they ate, the atmosphere now quite harmonious. Sarah timed it perfectly. About 10 minutes later, a video call request popped up. Wyatt feigned surprise as he lifted his phone and accepted the call. Sarah's face appeared on the screen, and with an award-worthy performance, she asked, "Son, are you eating?" Wyatt played along, his own acting skills on full display. "Yeah, we're eating now." Hearing Sarah's voice, Cece felt a pang of nervousness. Across the table, Miranda and Charles fell silent, listening to the mother and son's conversation. Sarah continued, "Is Cece with you?" "She's right here." Wyatt angled the phone, so Cece was in the frame. She shyly said, "Hi, Aunt Sarah." "Good. I'm glad you're together." Cece was too embarrassed to respond. Just as Wyatt was about to speak, Miranda put down her chopsticks and asked with a smile, "Wyatt, is that your mother?" Wyatt nodded quickly. Then he said to his mom, "Mom, Cecil's parents are here too. Do you want to chat with them for a bit?" Of course. Sarah was a social butterfly. She could strike up a conversation with a stranger for an hour while taking out the trash. Wyatt handed the phone to Miranda. Before Miranda could figure out how to address her, Sarah's cheerful "hello there" immediately gave Miranda the opening she needed. Cece kept her head down, her face bright red, but her ears were perked up, listening intently. Wyatt, acting as if nothing was out of the ordinary, continued eating. The two mothers chatted happily, without any of the awkwardness one might expect. Sarah praised Cece to the high heavens, saying things like, "My Wyatt doesn't deserve your daughter," and "He's been a rascal since he was little, and he only got more shameless in college." Miranda, of course, returned the compliments, praising Wyatt as well. Their intentions were clear. They both highly approved of their future son-in-law and daughter-in-law, and supported their relationship continuing toward marriage. Charles, abandoning his usual stern demeanor around Wyatt, also exchanged a few pleasantries with David. In the end, the four of them agreed to meet in person at the end of the year. After the call, Miranda asked with a smile, "Wyatt, I take it your mom runs the show in your family?" "You're not wrong," Wyatt said cheerfully. "My dad has always been the quiet type. My mom handles everything, inside and out." Miranda nodded. "That's good." Wyatt immediately caught her underlying meaning. He deliberately turned to Cece and said, "Did you hear that? Aunt Miranda means she wants you to learn from my mom and be in charge of me from now on." "Oh, get out of here," Cece said, her face glowing. She gave Wyatt a gentle shove and looked down, taking a sip of her coconut water. After lunch, the four of them wandered through the mall for a bit without buying anything. When they returned to the hotel that afternoon, Charles asked Miranda curiously, "Don't you think what happened at lunch was a little too coincidental?" "You mean Wyatt's mom calling at that exact moment?" "Yeah, it was obviously arranged by Wyatt. You can't even see that. If I could see it, would I be asking you?" Charles sat down, a slight smile on his face. But judging by his parents' faces, they both seemed like very easygoing people. Miranda found this amusing. "Well, look at you, Charles. When did you become a face reader? A person's heart is reflected in their face. I deal with so many people at the bank every day. I can tell at a glance who's difficult, who's easygoing, who's petty, and who's generous." Miranda blurted out, "Then what kind of person am I?" Without a moment's hesitation, Charles said, "You're my love." The Memorial Day weekend was only 3 days long. On the first day, they had lunch out, and in the evening, Miranda took Wyatt and Cece to visit her company. On the second day, the four of them went to Valley Forge National Historical Park. Although Miranda had worked in Philadelphia for years, and the park wasn't far from her office, she had only been there a handful of times. The scenery was beautiful, but it was always packed during holidays. The group took a quick, whirlwind tour of the main historical sites. As they were heading back to the park entrance in the evening, a little girl who looked to be about 4 or 5 years old toddled over to Cece. She tilted her head back, her big eyes staring straight at the candy apple in Cece's hand. The candy apples in the park were $5 a pop, and the little girl's parents hadn't wanted to splurge. So, driven by her craving, she had made a beeline for Cece. Cece hadn't noticed her at first. It was Wyatt who pointed her out. Cece looked down at the little girl with pigtails. "Is she?" Cece didn't understand what the little girl wanted and turned to Wyatt. Wyatt was torn between laughter and exasperation. "She wants your candy apple." Cece wanted to give it to her, but she had already taken 2 bites, and the vendor was long gone. "Give it to me." Wyatt reached over, took the candy apple from Cece, and snapped it in half, handing one half to the little girl. The girl wasn't shy at all and took it immediately. "How cute." The little girl's parents saw this and hurried over. Seeing the drool dripping down their daughter's chin, the young couple didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Sophie, why are you so greedy?" her dad said, embarrassed. Wyatt asked, "How old is she?" 5. "She's great." As the little girl ate her candy apple, her attention was caught by a slogan on a nearby sign. She toddled over, pointed at a large letter V, and asked, "Mommy, what letter is the pizza slice?" The pizza slice? Wyatt didn't get it first, but when he did, he was completely charmed by the little girl. Miranda, Charles, and Cece were all smiling as they watched her. "That's the letter V for Valley," the girl's mother explained, before taking her hand and leading her away. Cece tugged on Wyatt's sleeve, her face beaming. "Isn't she the cutest?" Wyatt smiled and nodded. Cece quickly followed up, "So, do you like boys or girls more?" "Huh." Wyatt froze. "Miranda?" "Charles." Cece saw the 3 of them staring blankly and realized they had misunderstood her. Her face turned beet red, and she quickly hurried off toward the car. "Wait for me," Wyatt called, running after her. Charles was bewildered. "Miranda, what did our daughter mean by that?" Miranda just shook her head and smiled. "I don't know. You'll have to ask her." After returning to the hotel, Wyatt received a call from Sam. Sam told him he had spoken with Walter, the owner of Toasties, and they had agreed to partner on the franchise brand. Walter's side would provide the technical expertise and staff, while the company would provide capital and growth strategy. Wyatt knew Sam was calling because he was still nervous. This was his first time managing an investment project. If Wyatt just gave his usual, "You handle it," Sam would be left feeling uncertain. So, Wyatt replied, "All right, let's go with your plan. Just focus on doing your part, and don't worry about the rest. We do the work, fate decides the rest. Just go for it boldly. Leave the rest to luck." "Okay." Sam instantly felt a surge of confidence. Not long after Cece got back to the hotel, Charles called her over. The old man only got to see his daughter a few times a year, and with her leaving for New York tomorrow, he was feeling quite sentimental. Miranda couldn't be bothered to listen to his rambling. She called the hotel staff to have their clean clothes delivered, put her own things away in her closet, and seeing that the father and daughter were still chatting, she picked up the remaining clothes and went to Wyatt's room. The door was ajar from when Cece had left. Miranda pushed it open and walked in. Seeing Wyatt still on the phone with Sam, she remained quiet. "Yeah, just follow your gut on this. The contract signing is after the holiday, right?" "Okay, Carter and I will both be there." "All right, that's it for now. I'll take another look at your business plan. Call me anytime if you run into problems." After hanging up, Wyatt opened the Word document Sam had sent him. Hearing footsteps, he assumed Cece had returned and sighed dramatically. "I've been walking all day. My back is killing me. Cece, can you come give me a massage?" Miranda froze, unsure of what to do. Seeing Wyatt lying face down on the bed looking at his phone, she thought, "If I'm good to him, he'll be good to my daughter." With that in mind, she walked over, sat on the edge of the bed, and began massaging Wyatt's back. Wyatt continued his monologue. After the holiday, the company has two projects to sign. One is Paw Print, a platform for pet services. The other is Toasties, a brick-and-mortar American-style burger joint. Everyone, including Carter, thinks Paw Print has higher investment value, but I think the project Sam has is more promising. There are already tons of pet-related platforms out there, so the competition will be fierce. Not to mention all the physical pet stores everywhere. Toasties is different. Once we get it off the ground, we'll see a return on investment quickly. As long as we build it into a national chain, we'll be printing money. Cece, I'm telling you, by the end of this year, your man could be a billionaire. Do you think I'll be the youngest billionaire in the country? While Wyatt was talking to himself, Charles and Cece had more or less finished their chat. "Where's my mom?" "I don't know, she was just here." "You don't think she went to my room, do you?" As she spoke, Cece got up and walked out. Charles, curious, followed her. Just as the father and daughter reached the doorway, Wyatt finished his last sentence. When he heard no response, he frowned and asked, "Why aren't you saying anything?" It was only then that Miranda finally spoke. "Sitting for too long is bad for your back. You should get up and walk around more when you have time." "Whoa!" Wyatt jumped, startled. He quickly turned over. When he saw that it was Miranda who had been massaging his back, he became incredibly shy. "Aunt Miranda, Miranda didn't notice the two people at the door. She asked, "What time are you two heading back to New York tomorrow?" 2 in the afternoon. "That's good. You can have lunch before you go." Miranda stood up. "I put your clean clothes in your suitcases. You two get to bed early tonight." "Oh." As soon as Miranda turned around, she saw Charles and Cece standing in the doorway. The expressions on the father and daughter's faces were identical. "Charles, Cece." Miranda paused for a beat, then walked out, dragging Charles with her. Cece walked into the room, closed the door behind her, grabbed a pillow, and started pummeling Wyatt with it, yelling, "Are you insane? You had my mom give you a massage." "No, let me explain." "Explain what?" "I saw everything. I thought it was you. I was lying face down this whole time. How was I supposed to know it was your mom? You can't even tell me and my mom apart now. I wasn't looking, and your mom didn't say a word. How would I know?" Cece remembered something and demanded, "You didn't say anything out of line just now, did you?" "I don't think so." Cece raised the pillow and started hitting him again. "What do you mean, you don't think so? Either you did or you didn't. There's no I don't think so." Okay, I didn't say anything out of line." Really? Wyatt was a little unsure himself, but thankfully, he had been on his best behavior. His hands hadn't wandered. "But seriously, your mom has great technique. My back doesn't hurt at all now." "Wyatt, I'm sorry." In the other room, Charles was stewing with jealousy. "Miranda, what on earth were you thinking? You're an elder, and you gave him a massage. We were married for so many years. When did you ever give me a massage? You're being way too nice to that kid. Are you done? If you're done, then get out. Stop nagging me. The next day at noon, after lunch, Miranda drove them all to the station. On the way back to the hotel, she was overcome with emotion. Before she turned 40, she had never imagined she would one day settle down and live an ordinary life. But now, she found herself looking forward to retiring and helping her daughter take care of her children. She didn't know if it was because she was getting older or if the changes in Charles and Cece had changed her own original perspective. On the Isabelle, Wyatt was looking at project files on his phone, while Cece rested her head on his shoulder, asleep. The scenery on both sides blurred past. The sun shone down on the vast fields of blooming rapeseed, casting a golden glow. The azure sky and cotton-like clouds all signaled that summer was just around the corner. They were returning to the season where they first met. When the intro to Hey There Delilah started playing in his earbuds, Wyatt put down his phone. Cece opened her eyes. They looked at each other with a silent understanding and intertwined their fingers. She whispered in his ear from now on, "You have to be in all my summers." He felt a warmth spread through him and smiled, nodding. "I'll always be here." Sophie's family lived in a suburb of Philadelphia, only a 30-minute train ride from New York. For the Memorial Day weekend, she had also gone home. On the afternoon of the 2nd, Leo arrived near the train station early, driving Wyatt's car. He sat in the car and sent Sophie a message. "I'm near the station. Text me when you're close." Sophie was still at home packing. She replied quickly, "Why are you so early? I haven't even left yet." "Leo, it's fine. I don't have anything else to do anyway." Knock, knock. After 2 knocks, Sophie's mother, Teresa, walked into the room. "Are you all packed? Your father is waiting." "Almost." Sophie quickly put her phone away and continued packing. Seeing her daughter's flustered movements, Teresa saw through it but said nothing, quietly leaving the room. About 5 minutes later, Sophie emerged into the living room, pulling her suitcase. Teresa immediately called out to the young boy on the couch. "Ben, your sister's going back to school. Aren't you going to see her off?" Ben, a new middle schooler engrossed in a mobile game, didn't even look up. "Geez, it's not like she's leaving forever. I'm busy." "Come on, you coward attack." Sophie rolled her eyes, not bothering to look at him. Her father, Stephen, came over, took her suitcase, grabbed the car keys, and led her downstairs. It was a 10-minute drive to the station. Stephen walked Sophie to the security gate, watching her pass through before returning to the car. Sophie sat in the waiting area and continued texting Leo. "I'm at the waiting area. Boarding in 10 minutes. Leo, "Sounds good. I'll be waiting." "Sophie, it's so crowded." Leo, "Well, it's the last day of the holiday weekend." Leo, "Did you get a seat?" Sophie, "I did." Leo, "That's good." After a bit more chatting, Sophie saw the sign above the gate indicating that boarding had begun. She paused their conversation, stood up, and went to get in line. After Stephen got home, Teresa pulled him aside for a whisper. "I'm telling you, our daughter definitely has a boyfriend at school." "No way. It's true." Stephen was confident. "I don't believe it. If my daughter had a boyfriend, she would have told me." Teresa rolled her eyes. "Fine, don't believe me then." Half an hour later, the train pulled into the station. Sophie had barely walked a few steps out of the station before she spotted Leo in the crowd. Leo jogged over, handed her a bottle of water, opened an umbrella, and took the suitcase from her hand. They then walked side by side toward where the car was parked. Sophie looked at the sweat on Leo's forehead and asked curiously, "Why are you sweating so much?" Leo explained, "There are cameras everywhere, and I was afraid of getting a parking ticket, so I parked farther away. I ran over here just now. It's pretty hot today. You could have just waited by the curb and had me drive over to pick you up." Leo grinned foolishly. "I promised you'd see me the second you walked out of the station. You're such a dork." They got into the car. Leo took a couple of tissues, wiped his sweat, and then started the car, heading toward the Juilliard campus. In the passenger seat, Sophie was only half listening to Leo, her mind elsewhere. After about 10 minutes, she seemed to have made up her mind, her gaze becoming firm. She took out her phone and sent a message to her father. It was short and to the point. "Dad, I have a boyfriend." While everyone else was enjoying the holiday weekend, Sam had spent all 3 days buried in work on the Toasties project. On the second day, he spent the entire day at the office, organizing materials and polishing the business plan, which had now grown to 6,000 words. After working for most of the day, his eyes started to ache. He rubbed them, stood up, and walked to the window to gaze into the distance. A moment later, he took out his phone to check his messages. He replied to a few greetings from his family and then a message from Walter. Finally, he opened the group chat named the Lunch Crew. Rachel had created this group. There were only 3 people in it, Abby, Rachel, and him. In the chat, Abby had tagged Sam, asking, "You went to the office again today?" Sam replied, "Yeah, it's quiet at the office. Easier to find materials." To his surprise, Abby replied instantly, "Are you still at the office now?" Sam, "Yeah, I'm going to be late tonight. The project I'm working on has a contract signing next week." Rachel chimed in, "You're working way too hard. It's Memorial Day weekend, you know." Sam, "This is the first project I'm in charge of. I want to do it right." Rachel, All right, we won't bother you then. Good luck." Abby, "Good luck." In their rental apartment, Rachel put down her phone and sighed. Sam must have a one-track mind. I've never met anyone so rigid, who works for 3 straight days over the holiday weekend. Abby responded, "Don't say that. He's just dedicated to his work. Wyatt must know about this, right? Of course, they're roommates." Abby glanced at the time on her phone, then at the groceries she and Rachel had bought at the supermarket that morning. After a moment's hesitation, she suddenly said to Rachel, "Why don't we go to the office too?" "What for? He brings us lunch from the cafeteria every day. We could bring him dinner." Rachel thought it was a good opportunity to return the favor and quickly agreed. Okay, they started cooking early. Rachel found a takeout container from a previous order, filled it with rice, and layered a few dishes on top. After closing the lid, they headed to the office together. They pushed open the company door gently. As soon as they stepped inside, they saw Sam at his computer. Rachel grabbed Abby's arm and made a shushing motion. Abby immediately understood. They tiptoed over until they were standing right behind him, just as Sam was completely engrossed in his work. Ahem. Rachel coughed suddenly, scaring Sam so much he almost fell out of his chair. Ha ha ha. Seeing Sam's flustered state, the two of them burst out laughing. When Sam saw it was them, he breathed a sigh of relief and scratched his head. "What are you guys doing here?" "Came to see you, and we brought you dinner." "How thoughtful are we?" Abby handed the container to Sam, smiling. "It's still warm. You should eat first. We cooked it ourselves." Rachel quickly waved her hands. "I was just the sous chef." Abby did all the cooking. Sam stared at the container in Abby's hand for a couple of seconds before reaching out to take it, saying softly, "Thanks." Sam started eating, a little embarrassed. Rachel curiously looked at the business plan he was writing, but Abby was watching Sam's expression. When Sam looked up at her, they both froze. Abby blushed and asked, "Is it good?" Sam nodded. "It's good." On the evening of the second, Isabelle was up to her old tricks again. She had been perfectly fine during the day, but when it was time to go back that night, she insisted that she and Michael squeeze onto the subway, even though they could have driven. Michael couldn't win against her and had to agree. But the subway station was packed. They had to wait for 2 trains to pass before they could finally squeeze on. Since returning to the U.S., Michael could count the number of times he'd taken the subway on one hand. He never imagined so many people could fit in a one small car. But it was precisely because the subway was so crowded that Isabelle took the initiative to wrap her arms around him. With the swaying of the train car, their bodies would press against each other from time to time. Just as Michael was feeling giddy, Isabelle suddenly tugged on his arm. Seeing her expression, he knew she had something to say. He leaned down and brought his ear close to her. She whispered in his ear, "If you shout, 'I love you' right now, I'll let you kiss me when we get off the subway." Michael's eyes widened. This was the first time Isabelle had ever offered a kiss. But the problem was, there were over 100 people in this car alone. To say "I love you" in front of so many people was, for Michael, incredibly embarrassing. Isabelle deliberately teased him. "I'll count to 5. If you don't shout, the deal's off." As she spoke, she held up one hand and started counting down. Watching her fingers go down one by one, and thinking that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Michael blurted out, "I love you." But his voice wasn't very loud. Only a few people around them heard. Isabelle, however, was relentless. "I didn't hear you." The next second, as if he'd been shot with adrenaline, Michael yelled at the top of his lungs, "I love you." His voice was so loud the entire car heard it. Everyone instinctively turned to look at them. Now, it was Isabelle's turn to be embarrassed. She quickly hugged Michael and buried her face in his chest. After shouting, Michael suddenly felt like it wasn't a big deal anymore. It was like many things in life. Before you do them, they seem impossible, but after you've done them, you realize they're not so bad. Michael smiled, ignoring the stares around them. He held onto the subway handrail with one hand and wrapped the other around Isabelle's waist. Half an hour later, they got off the subway. After exiting the station, they started walking toward the university. "So, you said earlier that." "Shut up." "No, I shouted it. You can't go back on your word." Michael whined like a small child. Isabelle ignored him and walked ahead with a spring in her step. It wasn't until they passed a deserted alley that she suddenly grabbed him, pulled him in, pinned him against the wall, and stood on her tiptoes to give him a forceful kiss. All right, you can go back now. I'll go back to the dorm by myself. Isabelle turned and left. Michael was still in a daze. He smacked his lips and quickly chased after her. That's it. I wasn't even ready. Let's go again. In your dreams? Haha. Isabelle laughed as she walked away. After the holiday weekend, the company entered its busiest period. Both projects were in their final stages. Wyatt knew this week would be hectic, so apart from attending 2 classes on the first morning, he skipped the rest. On Tuesday morning, Carter Lou contacted the team from Paw Print. But the team, which had been so eager before the holiday, suddenly changed their tune. They said they needed to reconsider before signing the contract. Carter didn't think much of it at first, but when he called them again the next day, they suddenly demanded an extra $500,000 on the investment amount they had already agreed upon, without changing the equity stake. Naturally, Carter refused. That afternoon, he took his team over to their office, only to find out that they had found a new investment firm and refused to disclose its name. On the way back, David, one of the analysts, said with confusion, before the holiday, they definitely weren't in contact with any other investment firms. How did they manage to negotiate new terms so quickly? Even if they did contact another firm during the break, it's impossible for them to have gone through the whole process this fast. Carter realized it too. He said grimly, "Something's not right here." Back at the office, Carter went into Wyatt's office and explained the situation. Wyatt remained calm and simply asked, "Is this kind of thing common in this industry?" Generally, if 2 or more investment firms are interested in the same project, the project owner should disclose that from the start. That way, they can negotiate better terms. They wouldn't do something like this, changing their minds after the terms are practically finalized. It damages their company's reputation. I see. They did say that if we could raise the investment to $4 million, they would still prioritize us. Before Carter could finish, Wyatt interrupted. There's no need. If we offer $4 million, what if they raise it to 4.5? Are we supposed to keep chasing? Damn it. All that work for nothing. Carter, who rarely cursed, let one slip. Wyatt offered a few words of comfort, but Carter left for his own office, still feeling resentful. Wyatt wasn't particularly attached to this project, so he wasn't too emotional about losing it. But as Carter had said, something was fishy. Carter was always meticulous. The day before the holiday, it was confirmed that the contract would be signed right after. But now they had been undercut by another company. This meant the rival firm had intervened during the Memorial Day weekend. But what normal investment firm would be working during holiday? What baffled Wyatt even more was that investing in a project requires project initiation, market research, risk assessment, due diligence. There were so many steps. The whole process should take at least a week or 2. How could they have skipped the negotiation phase so quickly? This project wasn't even that hot. Could it be that someone had deliberately hijacked it? Wyatt couldn't figure it out, but he didn't know where the problem lay. He could only take it one step at a time. It wasn't until Friday at noon, when he overheard a few words from David in the main office, that he connected the dots and started to see a glimmer of truth. "Frank, did you win the lottery? Ordering such a fancy lunch. Just wanted to change of pace." "Yeah, right. I've had food from that place. That meal had to cost you at least $50. Something like that." Rachel Yuan chimed in with a laugh. "And he got a milk tea too?" "Dude, you definitely won the lottery. Here, you can have a milk tea if you will just shut up." "Dad, get lost." On it. The office was filled with laughter, but Wyatt's expression grew increasingly grim. Back in his office, Wyatt pondered for a long time. He took out his phone and sent a message to Abby. "Have Rachel come to my office." Abby received the message and quickly went to the front desk to bring Rachel to the office. "Rachel, I need to ask you something." Wyatt smiled. "You interact with everyone in the company. Have you noticed anyone acting unusual lately? I mean, a significant change." "A significant change?" Rachel was a bit confused. She hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary. "Think carefully. Just say whatever comes to mind." Rachel didn't understand Wyatt's intention. She thought for a moment and said casually, "Sam has been leaving late recently, and he even came into work over the holiday. Irene has been taking a lot of leave. Seems like she's busy with her thesis. Someone sent a milk tea to another coworker yesterday. I think it might have been her boyfriend. And Frank has been clocking out earlier, sometimes leaving the second the clock hits 5 if you're not in the office. And he seems to be spending a lot more money lately. He used to order $20 or $30 takeout, but now he's ordering really expensive stuff." Just as Rachel was speaking, Sam knocked and entered. Seeing Abby and Rachel, he was about to leave, but Wyatt waved him over. "Anything else?" "That's about it." Wyatt frowned. "Have you noticed anyone who's been in frequent contact with people from outside the company?" "And no, I don't think so." Wyatt couldn't help but ask directly, "What about Frank? Have you seen him meeting with anyone else?" Rachel shook her head. Hearing this, Sam, though not knowing why Wyatt was asking, interjected, "Don't you remember? That one Friday when we were leaving, Frank got into an Audi with someone. You even pointed him out at the time." Rachel immediately said, "But that was a month ago." Wyatt cut in, "Okay, I get it. You can all go back now. Don't mention this to anyone else. And you two shouldn't discuss it either." "Okay." Rachel and Abby quickly left the office. Sam stepped forward and asked, "Is this related to the paw print project?" Wyatt nodded. "Just a hunch. What did you need?" "Oh," Sam said, "next Monday, Mr. Walter is coming to the company to sign a contract with us. I just came to let you know." "All right, keep this quiet for now." "I understand." Putting all the clues together, Frank became Wyatt's prime suspect, and he had a clear motive. Wyatt was already 80% sure, but suspicion was just suspicion. To confirm it was him, he needed proof. Wyatt sat in his chair, thinking for a moment, a smile slowly spreading across his face. He picked up his phone and called Leo. Leo answered quickly. "Yo, what's up?" "Leo, my man, where are you?" "The dorm. How about you do something for me?" "What is it?" "Tell someone." "Get lost." Leo swore. "I'm not a secret agent. Find someone else for that." Wyatt laughed. "But you have experience." Back when they were running their e-commerce company, Leo had tailed their university's logistics director. Remembering that, Wyatt thought of Leo. "I'm not doing it. I'll pay you." "How much?" $5,000. "Right now, right away. Send me the address." Wyatt held back his laughter. "I'll talk to Michael in a bit and have him lend me a car. Once you get the car, come straight to my company. I'll send you a picture. I'll give you a heads up when he's about to leave. If he takes the subway, you follow him on the subway. If he takes a car, you follow him in the car. Wherever he goes, whoever he meets, remember to take a picture." "Wait, you want me to tail someone from your own company?" "Take a guess why I'm asking you to follow him." "How would I know?" "Just follow him for a week. If you don't find anything, it means they're communicating by phone, and I'll have to think of another way." "Fine." Brandon had been overjoyed this week. He never thought snatching something from someone else's hands could be so satisfying. He had been in contact with the paw print team throughout the holiday weekend. His old man, unaware of the situation, thought his son was finally on the right track, working hard even on his days off. In a fit of delight, his father had removed the limit on his credit card, much to Brandon's elation. On Friday afternoon, while sipping afternoon tea in his office, he impulsively sent Frank a message. "Meet at the usual place after work." Frank jumped when he received the message, as he was still at his desk. Luckily, David next to him didn't notice. Frank closed the chat window on his computer and secretly replied on his phone. "Okay." Brandon was eager to meet Frank because he was desperate to know how Wyatt had been feeling this week after he'd snatched the project. Was he as angry and furious as Brandon imagined, storming around the office in a rage? Leo was very reliable. After hanging up, he immediately left his campus. Before 5 o'clock, he had already arrived at the Vibe building. He glanced at the time and sent Wyatt a message. "I'm here." Wyatt saw the message, packed his things, and left the company. The moment he left, Frank clocked out. Standing at the entrance of the office building, watching Wyatt drive away, Frank breathed a sigh of relief. For some reason, ever since the paw print project ended, he had felt uneasy, even subconsciously avoiding Wyatt's gaze whenever he saw him. But seeing Wyatt drive off, Frank's anxious heart settled down. He called a rideshare, thinking it was about time for Brandon to pay him the final installment tonight. 5 minutes later, Frank got into a rideshare. Leo, seeing this, quickly started his car and followed. The rideshare stopped at the south entrance of the Golden Bridge Mall. After Frank got out, he walked straight toward the Starbucks, texting Brandon on his phone. Leo, seeing this, also parked his car nearby and followed him in at a leisurely pace. Frank had never met Leo, so he paid him no mind. Leo ordered a latte, found a corner seat, and started messaging Wyatt. "I'm at Starbucks now. Is he alone? Looks like he's waiting for someone. When the person arrives, take a picture and send it to me, and your mission is complete. Don't worry, I'm on it." As they were texting, Brandon walked in from outside. He scanned the room, found Frank, and quickly walked over to sit across from him. He asked excitedly, "So was your boss pissed this week?" Frank wanted to say no, that Wyatt had been calm from beginning to end, but to please his benefactor, he lied. Yeah, he was green with rage. Our investment director was even cursing in the office. "Ha ha ha!" Brandon roared with laughter. And at that moment, Leo secretly snapped a picture and sent it to Wyatt. Wyatt received the photo and opened it. Hey, I knew it was him. Wyatt and Michael arrived at the university at the same time. While waiting downstairs for the girls to come down, Wyatt told Michael what had happened at the company. After hearing the story, Michael frowned. "Are you sure it was Brandon?" Wyatt took out his phone and showed Michael the picture Leo had just sent. After seeing it, Michael said coldly, "That scumbag, he's starting to use these low-life tactics." But why is he targeting you? Wyatt smiled. My guess is because of Judy. Michael remembered the scene from the youth investment conference and shook his head. If you put it that way, then this whole thing started because of me. After all, I was the one who took you there. It has nothing to do with you. Don't worry about this. I'll handle it. Don't. Wyatt quickly stopped him. Now that we've found the guy, things are simple. I'm not the type to just take a loss. You just watch how I play him to death. Seeing Wyatt's confidence, Michael was actually a little worried he might go too far. What are you planning to do? I'm going to give him a taste of his own medicine. He likes snatching my company's projects, right? Then I'll let him snatch them. For now, just pretend you don't know anything. Michael was about to reply when he saw Isabelle, Cece, and the others coming down from the building. He swallowed his words and complained with a smile. What took you guys so long? Wyatt, however, was looking at Cece and said, You look really beautiful today. The comparison was stark. Isabelle immediately got angry. She grabbed Michael's ear and scolded. Look at Wyatt, and then look at you. Can't you learn anything good from that jerk? Michael was speechless. After dinner that evening, Wyatt and Cece went back to the hotel. Wyatt's younger cousin, Mandy, who he hadn't spoken to in a while, suddenly sent him a few messages. The first was a picture. It was a love letter, and the contents made Wyatt's skin crawl. The worst part was that Mandy was the one who had received it. She was in 8th grade, that tender age of first crushes. Getting a love letter at that age was normal, but it terrified Wyatt. He didn't even listen to the voice message below it and immediately called her. Mandy locked her room door and quietly answered the phone. Mandy, let me tell you, if you dare to start dating this early, I'm coming home and breaking your legs. Mandy was exasperated. She had told Wyatt about this to get his advice on what to do. She never expected him to start threatening her the moment he answered the phone. She pouted and said softly, I'm not dating anyone. I don't even like him. I wanted to ask you what I should do. Give the letter back to him and reject him directly. Huh? What huh? He's just a little kid who hasn't even hit puberty yet. What does he know about love? You can tell that letter was copied from the internet. Just to trick a fool like you. I'm not a fool. Don't even think about dating until you graduate from college. Just focus on your studies. Mandy retorted. You and Sister Cece weren't even in college when you started dating. Wyatt was momentarily at a loss for words, but he quickly continued. I'm doing this for your own good. Tell me, besides me, how many good men are there in this world? Your job right now is to study hard. When it's time for you to get married, I'll personally find you a reliable. Hello, you little brat, you dare to hang up on me. Cece, sitting next to him, said disdainfully, TSK, so shameless. Calling yourself a good man. Hey, Wyatt was already fuming from his cousin hanging up on him. Hearing Cece's comment, he tossed his phone aside, pushed her onto the bed, and cupped her jaw with one hand, his thumb and forefinger gently pinching her cheeks. Are you trying to start a rebellion? Say it. Am I a good man? No. Wyatt's hand tightened slightly, making Cece's lips pucker. He kissed her and asked again, Am I? Shameless. Wyatt kissed her again. Am I? If you kiss me again, I'm going to bite you. Wyatt wasn't one to back down. He leaned in and kissed her again. Cece failed to bite him and, feeling defiant, yelled again. Wyatt obediently kissed her twice more, but on the third try, Cece bit him. He immediately clutched his mouth and howled. Ouch, you really bit me. Serves you right for kissing me like that. Quick, see if it's bleeding. No, wait, it is. Let me see your hand. As Cece leaned in to look, Wyatt made a surprise move and covered her mouth with his again. This time, there was no escape for Cece. Ring, ring, ring just as their breathing grew heavier. The ringing of a phone shattered the room's amorous atmosphere. Who is it? My dad. Why does your dad always show up at the worst possible times? Cece kicked Wyatt away and answered the video call from Charles. Dad, Cece, have you eaten? We ate. What's wrong with your mouth? Is it chapped? No. Then why is it so red? Cece quickly wiped her mouth and explained, I messed up my lipstick when I was eating. Wyatt made a gloating face from his side. Cece shot him a glare and proactively asked, Dad, did you need something? What kind of question is that? Can't a dad just call his daughter? I didn't say you couldn't. Wyatt stopped messing around and went to the bathroom to take a shower. When he came out, the father and daughter were still chatting. He sat down quietly to wait, not wanting to blow-dry his hair right away. It wasn't until the video call ended that Wyatt complained, Your dad is so long-winded. You're the long-winded one. Go take a shower. We need to go to sleep early tonight. We have to go to Anna Lane's place tomorrow. Cece put on her slippers and walked to the bathroom door. Seeing Wyatt blow-drying his hair, she had an idea. Holding the door, she called out Dork, then said with a mischievous grin, Want to join? Wyatt didn't quite register it at first. Just as he turned off the hairdryer and was about to go over, Cece slammed the door shut with a bang. Open the door. No, but you said you wanted to shower together. Ha, I was just kidding. Oh, so you're all talk now, huh? You just wait. Nya, nya, nya. Actually, Charles knew Wyatt was there during the video call. He just hadn't called him out. The background was clearly a hotel. And if they were in a hotel, that little punk Wyatt was definitely there. Thinking about his precious daughter's flimsy excuse, Charles found it rather amusing. He had mostly come to terms with their situation. After all, there was no turning back now. Charles glanced at the calendar. He had originally called to ask his daughter what gift to get Miranda for May 20th, a day for expressing love, but after beating around the bush, he still hadn't managed to ask. Charles sighed, opened his chat with Miranda, thought for a moment, and sent her a message. I just had a video call with our daughter. Elaine Young was almost 4 months pregnant. Her belly had started to show a slight curve, though it wasn't very noticeable under her loose-fitting clothes. When Wyatt and Cece arrived, Elaine was sitting on the sofa, opening packages. When she was home alone with nothing to do, she loved to shop online for baby items. She had already bought over a dozen sets of clothes for the baby, some for boys, some for girls, each one adorable. Cece sat beside her like a curious child, asking questions about everything. Elaine answered a few, then smiled knowingly. You like babies too, huh? Cece was about to answer when she realized Aunt Elaine's words had a hidden meaning. She quickly shut her mouth, her face turning red as she sat there, not daring to make another sound. Besides Elaine, there was another woman in the house, a housekeeper named Mrs. Davis, who was responsible for the 3 daily meals and cleaning. Occasionally, she would accompany Elaine for a walk downstairs to get some sun, but she didn't know how to drive. So for the past few checkups, it had been Wyatt who drove Elaine to the hospital. One time, when Cece wasn't with them, a nurse at the hospital saw Wyatt bring Elaine for a prenatal checkup and gave him strange looks the entire time. It wasn't until Wyatt belatedly realized and loudly called her Aunt Elaine a few times at the nurse's gaze, finally he shifted away from him. That afternoon, shortly after they returned to the hotel, Isabelle called. She said Michael had been called away by his uncle and that she and Ashley were bored in their dorm and wanted to come over. Cece immediately gave Isabelle the hotel room number. Wyatt, hearing this, grumbled, Are you really letting them come over? Before Cece could respond, Isabelle's boisterous voice came through the phone. Ashley, grab your weapons and follow me. Ashley asked foolishly, Where are we going? Isabelle declared righteously, To catch some cheaters. And so, 15 minutes later, bang, 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 there was a loud knocking on the door. Wyatt went to open it, looking exasperated. I'm telling you, Isabelle, are you crazy? There's a doorbell. Why are you banging on the door? Isabelle huffed and walked in with Ashley in tow. Tsk, tsk, tsk. You two are together day and night. Don't you get sick of it? Don't be ridiculous. I only come over 2 days a week. When you called, Cece and I had just gotten back from outside. Isabelle flopped onto the bed and rolled around. A big bed is so much more comfortable, she sighed. Wyatt laughed. Then next week, I'll tell Michael to bring you to a hotel. Isabelle immediately sat up. Get lost. We haven't gotten to that stage yet. I'm not as easy to fool as Cece. Yeah, right? Michael already told me you initiated a kiss with him. Isabelle instantly became flustered, her face turning red with anger. That bastard Michael. Why does he tell you everything? Wyatt smiled smugly and sat down on the sofa. Cece, afraid they would keep arguing, found a remote and turned on the TV. The 3 of them leaned back against the headboard, idly watching a show. Wyatt lay down on the sofa and scrolled through his phone. A boring afternoon quickly passed. When are we eating? Asked Wyatt. Mr. Bossman. So it's Wyatt normally, but Mr. Bossman, when it's time to eat? Well, you're a boss. You might not believe this, but I'm actually still very poor. Rock, paper, scissors. Loser pays for dinner tonight. That's too childish. How about a rhyming game? That's basically the same thing. Then what should we do? Let's play a word association game. Whoever can't come up with a word pays. Deal. Who goes first? Cece, you start. Cece, one of a kind. Wyatt, kind of blue. Isabelle, blue sky thinking. They went through several rounds. Everyone had a decent vocabulary, and for a long time, no one lost. Until Cece, grin and bear it. Wyatt, it takes 2 to tango. Isabelle was about to go when Cece suddenly looked at Wyatt and demanded, Who's Tanya? Wyatt. Ashley. Isabelle. After lunch, Michael had been called home by his uncle, Robert Jiao. That afternoon, their family was going to visit the Yu family patriarch. The thought of seeing that tomboy Judy made Michael a little nervous. To his surprise, however, when his family arrived at the Yu residence, Judy wasn't there. When they asked, they learned that she had been leaving early in the morning and coming back late at night, spending very little time at home. With Judy gone, Michael felt much more relaxed. While the elders were reminiscing about the past, Judy's older brother, Victor Yu, pulled Michael aside. Victor was 8 years older than Judy, already 34, and considered an older brother figure to Michael. He had a completely different personality from Judy. He had always been the perfect child, a model for the other wealthy kids in New York in both academics and character. After graduating from Stanford, he had entered his family's business early on and was now the acknowledged heir apparent within their corporation, his influence second only to his father's. In front of others, Michael was always laid back and casual, but in front of Victor, he was always on his best behavior. Michael, I need to ask you something. Answer me honestly. Okay. Victor adjusted the rimless glasses on his nose and asked seriously, did Judy borrow money from you? Michael quickly shook his head. No. Victor's brow furrowed. Then where did she get the money? You know about her opening a beauty center, don't you? Yeah. Victor said, her beauty center is almost done with renovations, but I know she doesn't have that much money. Do you know where her money came from? It was an investment from a friend of mine. You don't know him. His name is Wyatt. But I only found out about it after the fact. It has nothing to do with me, Michael said, distancing himself from the situation. Wyatt? Victor, of course, didn't know him, but he quickly asked with a tense voice, what's their relationship? Seeing Victor's expression, Michael knew he had misunderstood and quickly explained, just ordinary friends, don't get the wrong idea. Wyatt has his own girlfriend. It was Judy who went to Wyatt for the investment, and that's why he invested. Victor sighed. That girl, she's really becoming more and more of a headache. Isn't this a good thing? Michael laughed. She has her own thing to do now. Save her from causing trouble all day. Oh, I mean, it saves her from being bored out of her mind. Judy's Aesthetica Beauty Center was located near Central Park. It had 2 floors, totaling about 3,200 square feet. The first floor was a general reception area, while the second floor was for members, offering not only basic skincare, body sculpting, and massages, but also services like manicures, eyelash extensions, and laser hair removal. Although less than 2 months had passed, commercial renovations moved quickly. Coupled with Judy's demand to expedite the work, there were often 3 or 4 different crews working simultaneously. As of now, the structural work was essentially finished. In the evening, Judy sent a video to their group chat and tagged everyone, saying, starting on the interior decorating soon. The equipment can be moved in now. The other members, except for Wyatt, quickly responded in the group. At that moment, Wyatt was having dinner with Cece, Isabelle, and Ashley. Seeing the message, he mused aloud. It's already renovated? That was fast. Cece quickly asked, what did you say? Back in March, Judy mentioned opening a beauty center, right? It's only early May, and it's almost done. Isabelle asked curiously, so when can it open for business? Probably at least another month. She's rushing so much. She probably wants to open before the summer break. After all, business is better in the summer than in the winter. By the way, what are your plans for the summer? Wyatt replied, Cece and I have to go back to Riverwood. Ashley, what about you? I don't know, I haven't thought about it. What about you? Isabelle pretended to ponder. I'm not sure if I'm going to Australia or staying in New York. It depends on how Michael behaves these next 2 months. Ashley rolled her eyes in disgust. So gross. Monday arrived again. At 10 in the morning, the company held its regular meeting. In a departure from his usual demeanor, Wyatt berated Carter for his handling of the paw print project. No one had expected Wyatt to make such a scene. It startled Frank, but what made him even more nervous was that after the meeting, Wyatt asked him to stay behind. Just as Frank was feeling guilty and anxious, Wyatt spoke in a gentle tone. Frank, you and David joined the company at the same time. Carter took David on that business trip to Austin, but didn't take you. And you weren't involved in the paw print project. Do you have any hard feelings about that? Frank quickly shook his head. No, I understand. It's good that you understand. Sam studied for over a year and can now handle small projects on his own. Starting tomorrow, you and David will follow Carter. Watch and learn. When the company grows in the future, you could be the head of investment division 2 or 3. Frank was flattered and quickly agreed. I'll work hard. All right, you can go now. I'll talk to Carter about this. Okay. Frank returned to his desk, still in a daze. He couldn't figure out what Wyatt meant. Why was he suddenly showing him such favor? Could it be that the paw print project had created a rift between him and Carter, and now he felt the need to groom new talent? But it's too late now. I can't turn back. Frank knew very well that if he tried to part ways with Brandon now, even if he was willing, Brandon wouldn't be. Brandon already had leverage over him. After leaving the meeting room, Wyatt went into Carter's office. Seeing Wyatt enter, Carter frowned. What was that all about? Wyatt had given Carter a heads up before the meeting, so Carter knew Wyatt was putting on a show. Wyatt didn't explain, simply showing Carter a photo from his phone. The man sitting across from Frank is named Brandon. He's the son of the owner of Crestview Capital. He and I have a small conflict. The paw print project was most likely snatched away by him and Frank working together. What? Carter's brow tightened. Since you already know, why didn't you? At the meeting just now, before Carter could finish, Wyatt interrupted. What good would it do to say it now? At most, it would just get Frank fired. Since he wants to play games, I'll play along. As he spoke, Wyatt handed Carter a thin business proposal. This is a project I got back from Apex Capital last night when I went over. It's related to virtual reality, something called Cloud Universe. For the next few days, you and Frank will start making contact with the people from this project. Carter flipped through a few pages, his expression turning sour. More blockchain, more VR, AR, and it even involves artificial intelligence. They're asking for $30 million in the seed round? This project proposal is complete nonsense. I know it's a garbage project, Wyatt said with a smile. But you have to show a strong willingness to invest. Doesn't he like to snatch projects? Then let him snatch this one. But before that, you need to help them polish this proposal. Make it look even more convincing. $30 million is not a small number. What if they don't take the bait? That's why I put on that show just now. The angrier I seem, the happier he'll be. As long as we drop this bait, he'll definitely bite. As Wyatt spoke, he started to laugh. But this fire isn't hot enough yet. It looks like I need to be seen with Judy more often. After he finished, Wyatt turned and left the office. But the smile that had been on his face just moments ago vanished, replaced by a grim expression. Frank looked up and watched Wyatt enter his office. Then, he took out his phone and secretly sent a message to Brandon. At the meeting just now, Wyatt chewed out the person in charge of the paw print project. Brandon replied instantly. Ha ha, he had it coming. He also talked to me just now. What did he say? Just empty promises, saying that if I work hard, he won't treat me unfairly. What future is there in working for his small company? You keep an eye on him for me. Don't worry, as long as you're on my side, I won't treat you unfairly either. Back in his office, Wyatt called Judy. He propped his feet up on the desk and stretched lazily. Hearing the call connect, he immediately smiled. Judy, what are you up to? Judy laughed. Smooth talker. Is that how you won over your girlfriend? Wyatt changed the subject. Judy, I don't have much going on lately. Send me the address of the beauty center. When I have time, I'll come over and see if there's anything I can help with. Judy didn't hold back. Then come over now. There's a lot to do today. Should I bring another helper? Who? Michael. If you could drag him over here, I'll treat you to a big lunch. You got it. Wyatt hung up and immediately called Michael. Hey, my man, can you help me with something? If you're willing to help me with this, I'll make sure Isabelle stays in New York this summer to be with you. And so, Michael was tricked by Wyatt into coming out. On the way there, Michael asked repeatedly, where are we going? But Wyatt always dodged the question. It wasn't until they reached their destination, and Michael saw Judy standing in front of a shop with no sign, yet that he exploded. Wyatt, you son of a bitch. What the hell are you thinking, bringing me to see her? We're already here. Get out. Wyatt opened his door and got out, but Michael stubbornly stayed in the car, refusing to move. Judy, standing at the door, saw Wyatt get out of the car and seemed to be talking to someone inside. She shielded her eyes from the sun and, upon recognizing the person in the passenger seat, walked briskly over and knocked on the window. Only then did Michael lower the window, his smile more pain than a grimace. Long time no see, Judy. Get out. All right. Michael unbuckled his seatbelt, got out of the car, and followed Judy inside, all the while shooting daggers at Wyatt with his eyes, as if to say, are you insane? Didn't I tell you I didn't want to see this tomboy? In truth, Wyatt had no choice but to bring Michael along. He had come to see Judy to provoke Brandon, but he didn't have Brandon's contact information. So he had to bring Michael to act as a middleman to pass on information to Brandon at the right time. So what do you think? The renovation's not bad, right? Judy asked, full of pride. Wyatt clapped Michael on the shoulder and stepped forward to flatter Judy. It's great. Simple, elegant, and classy. You must have hired a professional designer, right? The designer, just follow my instructions. Amazing. From the entrance, I've carefully designed the placement of every station. The more private ones are in the back. The upstairs is even better than the downstairs. Let me take you up to see. This spiral glass staircase must have been expensive. Yeah, it was. But you have to spend money to make money. I've said it before, this beauty center is for high-end clients. True. Wyatt followed Judy on a tour of the beauty center, inside and out. Michael, listening to Wyatt's constant stream of compliments for Judy, had a look of disdain on his face. But to his surprise, Judy seemed to be enjoying it, even letting out a few giggles. Michael figured Wyatt must have some innate talent for getting close to women, like a character from a classic romance novel. There were two crews working in the shop at the moment, one installing bathroom fixtures and the other moving furniture. Judy's main task was to supervise them, making sure everything was placed in its designated spot without the slightest deviation. Wyatt and Michael followed her up and down the stairs, helping to move a few things and clean up some empty boxes. At 12:30, Judy led them to a nearby restaurant for lunch. With the beauty center's opening just around the corner, Judy's mood was better than ever. Her entire life had been planned out for her. This beauty center was the one thing she had put her own thought and effort into from start to finish, and it gave her an unparalleled sense of accomplishment. During the meal, she talked excitedly about her vision for the beauty center after it opened. At that moment, Wyatt raised his glass of soda and smiled. Here's to Judy's successful opening and overflowing profits. Haha, from your lips to God's ears. Just as Michael was about to clink glasses with them, Wyatt said, "Michael, take a picture of me and Judy." Michael froze for a second, but did as he was told. When he opened the camera and saw Wyatt sit down next to Judy, deliberately getting very close as they clinked glasses, he suddenly seemed to understand Wyatt's intentions. This guy, he's a real piece of work. On the way back, Michael asked directly, "So, you came all this way today, really just for the thing with Brandon?" "I don't have his number, so I had to bring you. Don't send the picture yet. I'll tell you when I need you to." Michael wasn't an idiot. He had already guessed what Wyatt was up to when he was taking the picture. The Cloud Universe project Wyatt had taken from him last night was something that any normal investment firm would probably have thrown in the trash after reading the proposal. Wyatt's actions were clearly meant to push Brandon into a corner. After all, people make the most irrational decisions when they're angry. The next day, Carter contacted the founder of the Cloud Universe project and invited him for a meeting on Thursday morning. They had expected him to be just an imaginative person, but it turned out he was a highly educated graduate who had studied in the U.S. He claimed that the concept of virtual reality was already being applied in the States, and if no one in the country followed suit, the industry would be monopolized by America. He was a smooth talker, rattling on, throwing out all sorts of unheard-of terms that left everyone in the office baffled. Wyatt's acting skills were far superior to Carter's, and he played his part perfectly. After the man left, Wyatt even held a short meeting, deliberately saying in front of Frank, "The investment department needs to study this project carefully. Some of what he said might sound outrageous to us now, but in investing, you have to have a long-term vision." 50 years ago, if you told someone you could have a face-to-face video call on a phone or computer, they would have called you a fool. But now, Apple's market cap is over $600 billion. So I hope you all take this seriously. Back at his desk, Frank and David also discussed it in low voices. "What do you think of this project? Feels a bit unreliable. Cloud Universe. It just doesn't sound solid." And that founder was so arrogant, acting like he's superior just because he studied abroad for a few years. All he talked about was in the U.S. this, in the U.S. that. "I think investing in this project is just throwing money away." "You can't say that," David said. "The people who achieve great things all start out by just talking a big game, right?" Hearing David say that, Frank also chimed in, "True. Anyway, we're just employees. It's not our money being invested." David smiled and didn't reply. Later that morning, Carter came over and had them start researching materials related to the project. Seeing that Wyatt and Carter were both starting to take the project seriously, Frank, having tasted the benefits before, secretly sent a message to Brandon while everyone else was at lunch. "Mr. Zheng, our company has taken on a new project." Afraid that Brandon wouldn't pay attention, he added another sentence. "Wyatt values this project very highly.